ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another great day of Apex Legends. My name is Rain Day, and this, of course, if you're here, you know it's the PlayStation Tournament's Master Circuit Wild Card Saturday, where we get to check out our second of 4 wild card tournaments for our PlayStation community to battle it out in Apex Legends and see who can make it to the grand finals and win this season of some incredible play. My name is Rain Day. For those who have not seen me in the last couple of shows, thank you so much for all of my colleagues and casters who have participated. I am back. I am ready to go. I appreciate everybody's support online, and we're so excited as well. I'm so excited to have my co-partner, my co-caster in the lab with me again. It is Girl, and of course, you know her from Apex Legends streaming and from casting this series with y'all. Girl, how are you doing today? Are you excited for some Apex?
Yeah, I'm super excited. First of all, I want to welcome you back. I'm glad to have you back. I'm glad you're in the recovery phase, and I hope you recover smoothly and quickly. And yes, I'm excited for the wildcards today. Love watching Kings Canyon. It's just super different. We don't get to see many tournaments on Kings Canyon, especially this new and updated one. We have seen them in the past, maybe 3 years ago, right? So yep. Super excited for the tournament here today and to see all of the exciting action. Last week in our week number 1, we had a lot of Valkyries, a lot of people playing for that, and so I'm wondering if it's going to change up today.
Wow, we have a lot of questions to answer. This is great. I mean, I can't wait to get into that. We have the game coming up very soon. But let's talk about how we're going to play this. For those who are new, and if you are not new, this is a little refresher for you. We've got trios coming in like every Apex Legends match. And then we've got up to 20 teams. We'll let you know the specific amount a little bit later on in the day. And we've got 5 games this time. So it's a bit of a change from the first season that we saw 6 games, and from some traditional Apex Legends formats. It means you got to get things done a little bit quicker, a little bit better, Girl.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have the 20 teams today, and first place is going to grant you 12 points. It's a traditional point system. Second place will grant you 9 points. Third place will grant you 7 points. Fourth place will grant you 5. A little vice versa. Fifth place will grant you 4 points, and then 6 and 7 will grant you 3 points, which would be the equivalent of a full squad wipe. Now, each elimination here is going to be 1 point today, so the team with the most kills will rack up a lot of points. Will they beat teams that play for placement, though? We're about to find out. Maybe a mix and match. Try and have a good average point system, and then you'll net yourself a nice prize at the end of the day.
And that's really what it's all about. You're looking to get that prizing, which today, it's a cool $600. Not a bad day at the office, like I like to say. $300 for second, third and fourth drop down to $150, but they split that. And then, of course, 5th and 10th, they get a seat in our grand final, which is where the big prizing is. Last season, our winners got PS5s and $1,500. Can we continue to see that trend and add on to it? Casters get PS5s too. I'm not going to stop. I want them. I know you want them in chat. Maybe we'll do something like that. Who knows? But PS5s are in the air, so get excited, everybody back at home. Today, these are our qualified teams, girls. We've got a few familiar faces and some new faces joining us in the fray.
Yeah, so we've got Rat Kings here today, Abuchin here today, Apex from me, AXFF, welcome back, Baguette LF. They changed their name a little bit, but they're back. Clippers is back. Fistic, FMA, Titans, God Trio's back. Apady D Walks, It's My Time, PDLC, PMB, Red Fade, Shadow Points, Team 7 Black, Tortilla Espanola, TXC, Viper Squadron, and We Don't Play, the winners of our last week. They're all here today and all here to compete.
Should be a very exciting day, and if you have good teams, you're going to have a good tournament. That's just the way it goes. A lot of storylines developing for these squads, and they're only going to develop more. I love to see it, and you know, you can see stuff like this all the time if you go to compete.playstation.com. Why do we mention this all the time? It's because that's where the hub of information for these broadcasts, what's coming up, how to engage in them, and more importantly, how to sign up to be a part of the show. We want to cast you. It could be your day where you decide your future for the rest of your life as a competitive gamer, as someone who makes it into the landscape of social media and gaming. This could be your start. We've seen it happen before. Compete.playstation.com to sign up and get involved in all we're doing here at PlayStation Tournaments. Well, it's been great. It's so good to be back, girl. I think, settling into this, we've got game one coming up. And this is the first time that I have been a part of Kings Canyon being in the competitive side of Apex Legends in a long time. And I want to know what your takeaway was. How did you feel Kings Canyon went in week one for this tournament?
Week one was super exciting. It's really nice to see a different style of play. It was the complete opposite of ranked. In ranked, there's a lot of fighting going on. Kill points are kind of worth more in ranked because there's no maximum amount of points that you can get. But it's the opposite, right? Placement here is worth a lot, but not only that, each kill is 1 point. So a lot of people played positioning. There are a lot of chokeholds in Kings Canyon. So getting a good position and then killing people coming in works out a lot for most of these teams.
Well, we've seen in Kings Canyon a lot of adjustments in Season 14. The map was a big deal for the developers. If you're just checking in on what's been new in Apex Legends, obviously a new Legend, Vantage. I haven't seen that much. I'm not sure if we will see Vantage in these games, but we've seen adjustments to these characters and adjustments to some of the hot spots in Kings Canyon that were difficult to traverse during high-level intensity fights that would get a lot of players stuck, would kind of stop the momentum. So maybe Kings Canyon has a different look if you're like me seeing it for the first time. But, speaking of Legend compositions, girl, that's kind of where I want to, pick your brain now. What have you seen so far heading into this Season 14 and within our PlayStation tournaments week number 1?
Yeah, absolutely. So the teams that have the most success last week in our EU region had Valkyrie on their team. I feel like Valkyrie kind of skyrocketed the success rate for a lot of teams because most teams were expecting aggression and they didn't get it. So the teams that actually played a full-on aggressive comp with Ashe, Bloodhound, just no rotational abilities, they found themselves kind of in a stump because they were like, well, where is everybody? Why isn't anyone fighting, right? So people did have to adapt in the further rounds. So definitely Valkyrie is something to look out for, something to maybe choose or rotating early. But we've got a lot more teams this week, a lot of strong teams this week. So, it might change this week.
One thing I wanted to just put into words so I have it and I don't have to write it down is Valkyrie really is the only rotation in Apex Legends. When you consider rotating, a lot of times you used to ride those balloons, right? You jump up on a balloon, you rotate to the other. That's actually rotation. We used to consider Wraith Portal as rotation, even Ashe, Phase Breach as rotation. But with those being lessened over the time, with nerfs coming to Wraith, taking away 25% of it, and Ashe being so much more like snappy and not quite as far, and those don't really qualify as the rotation sense, I think, of what Apex Legends requires. And I think Valkyrie, it's interesting, one of the reasons I feel she's so valuable, and almost I don't see her not being valuable, is she's actually a rotation character. Will there be another character that can come in and actually rotate in that way? Double the size of Ashe's Phase Breach. Something that gets people really from one place on one side of the mountain to the other, ready to fight and be settled, because there's really nothing you can do to compete against taking a balloon and the distance that'll take, or coming off a dropship and falling down, girl. It's a problem that may never be solved. Valkyrie just may not be able to be beat ever in terms of her rotation ability.
Yeah, she definitely the only macro rotation. I think now a lot of the pro players call the Wraith Portal or Ashe TP micro rotations, but like you said, they're just not as effective as Valkyrie in terms of rotation, and not always can you find a spot to use it. I've seen a lot of Ashe TPs, you use it and the enemy team can still see you come out of it, right? There's so many instances where it's just like, you just got into another open part of the field. Like, we could still shoot you and you're going to go down. But last week, we seen a team use Ashe TP inside of a Bangalore smoke. I've never thought of that, but that was really cool, and they ended up coming out on top. So
that's a great idea.
Maybe different ways. Yeah, there are different ways to use each legend. But like you said, the macro rotation, Valkyrie definitely is the queen for them.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. You talk about being able to hedge your bets and be able to have like a situation that, more times than not, you'll be able to benefit from. And that's where macro rotation is clear. You're not always going to have the best landing. You don't know where your circle's going to be. But if you have a character that can take you as close to that place as possible, then you're going to have an advantage 9 times out of 10 over other characters who cannot do that. So I love the ideas. I love the differentiation between micro and macro. And I feel like I'm curious if Apex will take on the challenge of adding more macro rotation legends in the future. Should be interesting. With Valkyrie nerfs in Season 14, though, I wonder if they're trying to bring Valkyrie more in line with the micro rotations versus going for more macro rotations. That's a question that, I'm curious about your thoughts on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see them doing another macro rotation legend. I feel like you're kind of in the right where they want to nerf her to the point where she's not the only legend used for rotations, but they've already kind of made Ashe very similar to Wraith in terms of like a portal, so maybe they'll make another legend in terms of a flight legend.
Could
maybe be. Yeah, it could be. Maybe we'll see some other healing legends. I know in our show dropping in, we had some questions about that.
That's right.
AoE healing or long range healing abilities as a support legend. I like those ideas as well, but if there's too many legends like Valkyrie, then there will be a lot of flying in the air.
Yeah, there will be. I think flying is fine, but I typically like to handle things on the ground for the most part. So, a little flying here and there. Too much flying, we might be in a different game. We might be in like Apex Legends instead of Apex Legends right there. And I do love, though, the concept of adding, characters to, adjust for certain situations, and like Lifeline not being able to be maybe a high-level healer because of some of just the natural tendencies that you need for high-level healing. Maybe another character coming in that's more geared towards healing in a competitive scenario, healing from a distance, healing, with a hit scan healing from afar. I can think of a lot of characters that have fit that stereotype over the course of game development and design. I'd find that very interesting. And I know a lot of our players would as well, as we get ready, as we talked about Legends, to check in on who is jumping in. We've got Ronaldinho. I love it. One of my favorite players growing up playing soccer. Who will Ronaldinho pick? That's what I'm curious about. But, girl, we're seeing some Caustic, some other legends. Who's got your eye?
Yeah, so we don't play our winners of last week. They're going with Bangalore, Pathfinder, Horizon. They don't got a Valkyrie today. I wonder why the change. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Pathfinder myself, so I'm excited to see that come into fruition. Very Ronaldinho. Nice. What legend is Ronaldinho playing?
I don't know, but it should
Revenant.
Be... Oh, Revenant! Oh, my goodness gracious. We're in for a good time today.
Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about earlier, where people are expecting a lot of action. I think I've seen Revenant play last week. Maybe Ronaldinho has played Revenant last week. I don't quite remember, but there was no action early game, which caused people that played very aggressive team comps to just not fight and then also have no macro rotation.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, if Revenant really is back in the meta, I'm not sure how that is going to take. I have been recently, in fact, working on a video for a pro by the name of His Watson a little bit today, talking about Mad Maggie and what, why maybe she's being overlooked, maybe the problem that this character has had over the course of her development, and why not being such a key element of the game. And in fact, after all the buffs in Season 14, still not necessarily finding that hook into the culture, so to speak. But Revenant, another character who doesn't need a hook. Everyone knows how to use Revenant. It's pretty simple. That's a nice PK loadout from the start right there. You get yourself a 2x, a purple bolt, and some shotgun ammo from Indra on Team 7 Black. And it will be base and rig capacitor circle, and we see Clippers already set up there, which is nice for them, as they won't have to move much here, girl, to kick things off in game one.
for sure. Might be pulling up towards Basin or the rig. And nobody ended up dropping there, so whoever rotates first gets that a little extra loot. A lot of teams on the west side of the map, so see if they're going to end up fighting. Two teams ended up splitting crash site, one team artillery. It looks like we might see a fight in swamps here shortly as we see two teams collide there. And take a look. I think they're starting to get some shots out on each other. Baguette LF on the other side of the map, though. They're going to be looting one of my favorite POIs, which is caustic treatment. A lot of gold guns. You can already see the golden R9 being picked up. Good crafting spot because there's no one really able to shoot you unless they literally come all the way in the back here. And they pick up a gold armor, so really good loot from them.
Baguette LF, ARS Baguette, previously in the last season. What a story for them. Dominant across the entire tournament until the very last day. It is very unfortunate to see that, but at the end of the day, though, they've won more than the total prizing that was given out at the very end, across winning, I believe, 3 or maybe 4 of the tournaments leading into the grand final. A team that has typically run some very, very aggressive Valkyrie playing with Taylor, and a Crypto, by the way, which has been, I believe, dropped here for the likes of Seer, with Perry Terranez usually rocking that. But a great team fighting squad here in our PlayStation Master Circuit. Excited to see what they'll do here in Game 1 as our round begins to reach the middle point with 3 minutes before it closes.
And Obelix changing from Gibby to Horizon, so that's nice to see. You know, going from complete defense, recoverability to aggression. And that's what a lot of people expect here on King's Canyon, is the aggression going forward. Zones coming in. Now, if you're a little bit newer to the updates in Apex, Zone Ring 1, Round 1 closing ring does the same as Zone 2 closing ring damage. So it's going to do a fair amount of damage. You can still heal through it, but you definitely don't want to soak in it too long. Might get burnt.
And what they did, girl, right? The change is that they basically coordinated where that ring was going to move a lot faster and started moving it quicker, right? So those rings at the beginning of the game, as I understand it, start to showcase where you're going to end up, where you have to move, so you get your looting done and you already know if you want to get quickly towards the zone where to go. And then that ring starts to slowly move a lot sooner than it did, but it also does a little bit more damage as it's moving. Do I have that right?
Yeah, no, you definitely have that right. Moves in a lot quicker. And it correlates with the damage as well.
So a follow-up on that, how have you felt the pacing has been with that change? Has it made a difference? Do you notice it at all?
Oh yeah, like take a look at everyone running into the storm right now. It's because of the fact that, and they're not taking fights early on, because if you do take a fight early on and it prolongs, then you're in that storm. And all the teams on the west side, we've seen a lot of them land there, right? They have to move all the way to the east, so they already know they've got a long distance to travel. So they don't prioritize fighting because of the zone damage, because of the zone pulling early. They don't have much time to really get to that east side, especially if they're not running Valkyrie. We've seen some teams not run her, right? So they have to start traveling a little bit early. They got to the airport 2 hours early, and they made their way into the circle.
Let's go this way.
All right, well, you can see it in action as Girl just displayed its created movement. And that's what you need in a battle royale. Not towards the later stages, but definitely to get things started. You want to make it tight in there. Battle royale is best when it's like a booked plane. Not any free seats. Everyone's got to find their space, and you know what? If you're a little late to the party, your space might get given up to people on standby. And I think that's where We Don't Play certainly have not been. They have been in control, winners of our last week. Ramo plays Mr. Namka, Mr. Profit. Cordial, to say the least. And chasing down Tezer and Automatic. There's a big, big black hole coming in from Ramo. Is it enough? I'm not sure it got there. It was maybe a little bit late on that, Girl, but I think the idea was very, very clear. Have they isolated one member, though? That's the thing. We Don't Play seemingly not able to track down all those kills.
Yeah, it was quite unfortunate. They had a good idea of going back, playing it safe, and going for the team shots, but one of them survived. I think it was Tezer survived with 20 HP, and that's what kept their team alive. Just really important to do so. And they actually ended up finding another team in this forest side, an AXFF team. They don't know how to traverse. This is one of the most dangerous chokes I find myself in ranked anyhow, because there's such an open field. If you go on the down low, there's teams on the right that can shoot you. There's teams on this building that can shoot you. But I think they recognize that no one has occupied this building, and they hear the shot, so they're going to wrap around these two teams that are fighting. Might take them a little while to get there, but they'll be right there behind We Don't Play soon enough.
Yeah, Indra's in trouble. I think they found the squad for sure. It's just such a difficult place, especially when you have somebody getting aggressive like Ramo plays. That's what the height brings to it. And that'll be an easy kill with the Volt. It was also a good flank by Mr. Profit, who's now going to hit a Phoenix kit, or at least a battery and a med kit, which will be his healing of choice, as We Don't Play clean that one up. On the other side of things, though, Baguette, with round 2, find a couple of kills on their own. So 2 teams in the mix for first place. Already getting off to some action as we head towards one of my favorite POIs, Cage. Won't be able to spend too much time here, girl, but I always love cage fights. What about you?
I hate Cage. It's one of my least. It's one of my least favorite.
Cage?
Yeah, my least favorite POI to fight. And yesterday we had an end zone in Cage, and it's just like if you're playing on that second level or that lower level, there's just so many angles that people can take aggressively upon you. There's not. They took down the walls. You can't play it safely anymore. There's just so many doors, so many little windows.
You know, I'm hearing a lot of complaining, girl. I'm hearing a lot of complaining, okay?
I'm just saying it's a very difficult POI to hold.
No, you're right, you're right.
Yeah.
It's very chaotic, which is kind of what I like about it. I think if you're if you're an Apex player, I think it's a really fun hot drop. I think you just have a lot of fights that can go, you know, forever. And that's actually what they did. They actually changed the map for Cage to eliminate some of the, like you said, they eliminated some of the walls so that these fights wouldn't last forever there. And for me, I haven't really played too much of the new Cage now to know how that feels. Obviously, it feels faster for you, not too excited. But that was what they were going for, which I find it definitely did happen. Those fights could last a while. People could get hiding on multiple different levels. It's like fighting in a 10-story hotel, it felt like. Trying to chase somebody to floor 2, floor 8, and then back to floor 5 in order to finish them off. But TXC doesn't have that problem. They're just fine on height here. For now.
I just realized that TXC has a new roster. So we've got Raymond, we've got Martin, and we've got Nero. Nero ended up getting knocked there earlier. We Don't Play, though. They're still looking for kills. So Noise ends up going down, and they are getting chased. The Horizon ulti comes in. I'm not sure if it's going to connect, but this ulti is so strong it sucks through the walls. Profin gets the thirst on Noise, but I don't think they can find this last one. See, notice that they don't have a scan legend. They don't have a Bloodhound. They don't have a Seer. So they got to check every corner as they chase to see if anyone fell behind.
That's such a good point. It's a lot of wasted time, don't you think? There's teams who can efficiently track that down and probably get that KP. And also know there's a team above them as well. So We Don't Play chasing one. They've got 3 more for their trouble. Maybe a couple more than they wanted. They're safe from now. Across the bridge. They'll set up in this house. Look to reload and regroup with any ammo. As they don't really need to move here. They've got a good 2 zones before they're probably going to have to get pushed out. It might even end near them. So we'll check in with them. We Don't Play in a pretty good spot. Meanwhile, Baguette fighting across swamps. Looking to make their way into this house or at least clean this up. Taylor being aggressive. And I know that they found some damage there, but they've lost Terry in the process as well. Want to wait for Taylor. And Taylor, like they do so best, has to get up and out on that Valkyrie. Oh my God. And he will do it. Taylor with an incredible showcase of what Valkyrie can do in these multi-storied buildings. Now only on 101 health. That one was all enough for Taylor to survive last time. Now he's got 100 more. Doesn't look good for those on the other side. And being patient, definitely a good sign here. But they want to attack us too, and that's why Taylor, not risking going for the med kit, just wants to get the shots together and wants to fight as a team until he knows it's handled. And there it looks like it has been handled. They're going to go for the res and hold here and force that person to come to them.
Oh, the grenade comes in. I don't know if they're going to be able to get that revive off, but Perry does not get thirsted. Obelix goes down to 10 HP. They lose Obelix now. Is it a 1v1 situation? Taylor's going to stick it here. He gets him up, but will he survive? He's down to 1 HP. Force going for the shots. 81. Oh. No, this could be. Oh, good stuff coming in from Taylor. And, you know, he's a sharpshooter.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best way to take that fight, girl. I was really impressed with that. You know, you're trying to chase. You want to fight as two, because I think, you know, instead of healing and doing 2 1v1s, you want to just do a 2v1 and finish it. But, yeah, at the end of the day, they were so aggressive that then they decided to just wait and say, you come to us. We're the ones with the advantage. We have time to spare. You don't. We'll get our teammates up. And the bait, res, great tactic to employ. And that will result in Baguette moving on from Swamps, heading into this. TXC also still alive here. As you mentioned, girl, a little adjustment to the roster. Wonder what that is about. As we know, Sarah Sutcliffe, a big member of this, girlfriend of Raymond at the time. And we haven't caught up with Sarah in a minute, but seems to no longer be on this squad. Very, very interesting.
Well, sometimes change is good, and you don't always have to play with your best friends all the time. It's good to play around with some other people as well to kind of get input and different views. Oh, but Vertex, from that view, got caught. Obelix found him out, and he's going to pop the battery, pick up that kill point. 9 squads remaining. They get the thirst there. That's from Baguette LF, and they really did need to get that fight over with because the zone did close out. They got the good rotation in. And Lucasati, last member of Abuchin. Banner recovery could happen here with 70 seconds. It is still possible to do so.
Lucas Sadi holding on for dear life. And a chance at a banner. Perry on Baguette. We've got Raymond and his squad on TXC. Martinillo and C-Nero. AXFF, a team we've seen a while as well. Looking to get into the zone. They don't have a spot yet, but they're behind a team taking that gravity lift up on the horizon. A lot of damage done by Dave. Is it enough? Dave loses the shield, just tries to go underneath. Maybe going to throw the ultimate to get aggressive, but that's a Gibraltar defensive bombardment. Not sure what Dave's plan is there. Really lucky to not take any damage at all from the defensive bombardment, despite no shielding. So maybe luck on the side of Dave. As they're going to finish off this KP.
If that were me, I would have gotten hit. I got hit the other day 4 times.
Oh,
Four times by Gibiolti. And to see Dave, I need some tips from Dave over here. And Dave's shooting incredible mid-air with the R31. He's going to push off that. They already got Mr. Profin down. This is a good team to be fighting and eliminating right now. That's We Don't Play. That is our champion from last week, out at 7th place as many squads are going down.
And I think that was Taylor helping out as well. So Dave and them found a spot, but on the other side, you could see Baguette kind of creeping and pincer-ing with AXFF onto We Don't Play. And so that is a problem. Look at this, Baguette. Hello. Goodbye. Trying to get rid of this castle wall. Surprising at that, though. Taylor doesn't want it. I'm just wondering why, to avoid maybe you get a little bit more line of sight. Feels comfortable with just one segment of it. And maybe just to help Perry get in there. That might have been the real reason, as they want to hold this area. But now they've got to move. And this is a tough way to do it. You've got to either take the zip line or you've got to skydive with Valkyrie Girl. How do you approach this here with 55 seconds left and all these teams set up already?
Yeah, they might have to climb these rocks and skyward dive from the back in a safe area. Just because if they do it from that open field, they are going to get canceled with that team looking at them. Unless they get lucky enough for Raymond to stop peeking from that angle. That's TXC on the other end. TXC is holding the majority of the POI. They still got Dave and Eros on the other side of this rock, so if they move too far to left, they might encounter them. But I think the plan is to skyward dive. Take a look at this. They're all getting together. They're all full healing. Oh no, they're walking northeast.
You could walk that.
Yeah. They're going to pinch Dave and them if they do end up going all the way towards the bridge.
It's a great play. I think TXC is the only other team that is there. There's Nero, who is with Raymond and Martinello. There's Tezer as well, who's a solo player, but it is going to be Baguette trying to pinch AXFF, and this is just going to be great for TXC, who can come in at the end of this fight. Unfortunately for them, there's going to be armor swaps aplenty, and there was basically no damage taken by Baguette, and so TXC have a lot of work to do, and it looks like Raymond has already gone down. An armor swap there as well. Oh, it's going to make trouble for Martinello, and the Pathfinder grapple is just not good enough to go up against Taylor and the rest of Baguette. And it seems like that walk up northeast will be possibly a game-winning play for Baguette LF here to start things off in our wild card Saturday.
Not only did they eliminate so many good teams just now, they've almost got 20 kills, or maybe already have 20 kills to their name.
God.
So if they get a dub, this is going to be over a 30-point game in just our first game.
That is nuts. Absolutely nuts. An incredible start for a team that we only know excellence from. Continuing to show why they are on top. TXC, though, is not completely out. Nero stayed alive, and you know what? I like this play. It's really going to result in most likely Tezer, unless there's some miracles here, some magic that unfolds, taking the third place spot, and that'll allow Nero to at least get some placement points. That's 2 KP. It's like taking down 2 members of a team. I'll go for it. I like it. But it is going to be Baguette who rises to the occasion this time for game 1.
That was an incredible game to watch. Complete opposite of our week 1 EU region. We had people flying to end zone. We had people camping in houses. We had no fighting whatsoever. And Baguette LF, they're like, let's change this up. All right, they could have skyward dived and gone into the end zone, but they decided to pinch a team and then fight another, and won both fights back to back to end up winning this whole thing.
It was an incredible showcase. And I mean, sometimes you got to look at the pincer move, the final moment, walking up northeast, that just made the difference for them. Yes, you got to win the fight, but I think the decision to do it in that way instead of doing it in the skyward dive approach, where you can't guarantee where you're going to land, you can't guarantee how you're going to take that fight, if you're going to be on high ground or low ground, depending on the pressure you get. I mean, they just created the situation that they wanted for themselves and said, let's buck up, let's get ready to do it. Oh, man, they did it. I was impressed. I was impressed overall with game 1 from them. And, you know, to me, Kings Canyon felt fast, girl. It felt really, really fast.
Yeah, the games have gotten faster with that round 1 ring closing this season. It's going to be a lot faster for game-wise. And also the fact that they killed a third of the lobby.
Yeah.
They didn't have to wait till that very last zone to close in. They fought for it. They ended the game a little bit faster than a game normally would end, and that's just from aggression. That's from winning their gunfights. And take a look at this, Taylor doing the 108 damage there. That was incredible. It truly was. He survived with the 1 HP. If he went down here, things could have went different for them.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it's not just that. It's the timing on the rotate. It's the ability to, you know, manage a situation like that and go, it's time to not be aggressive anymore. It's time to let this player be aggressive. And that is some of the hardest things, I think, as an athlete to do, especially a gaming athlete, somebody who is competing at a high level here. It's just changing your mental state to go from aggression to patience right away when you are already being aggressive. During that, you know, moment where your blood starts to boil and your adrenaline is pumping, that's like such a conscious effort. So it worked out big time for them. A 22 bomb for Baguette LF. Cannot understate that overstate the value of that enough. That will put them well into the lead to start game 1.
34 points. That must have granted them 2,800 damage from Taylor, being that sharpshooter that he is. Perry, the support, 879 and 1459 on Obelix. Going from Gibby to Horizon must be really fun, you know, and the Crypto to the Seer. Good accuracy from all three of them and great gameplay from all three of them.
It's pretty amazing the way that Taylor's able to have 30% accuracy on 12 and 12. My goodness gracious. Incredible stuff. And I love to see it, and I think we all do here. Back to form, Baguette LF. That is a big separation they've already created between them and the rest of the lobby. It's just about maintaining it. I'm sure right now they're in comms saying, stay focused, boys. Stay focused. It is time to continue just doing what we've been doing. TXC also, big shout out to them. I think they played well. Abuchin grabbing that 3rd place finish. You know, it was what the difference between getting ahead of We Don't Play, who found themselves a couple of elims, and I think were pretty successful over the top. But yeah, this is a good kind of showcase here for some teams, new and old, to perform here in game 1.
And you see all the kills there on the top, whether it's 4 kills, 2 kills, 7 kills, or 22, they're all up here on the top of the leaderboard. And things could have definitely went different for Baguette LF, but they got out of a sticky situation. AXFF, they could have done a tad bit better by pinching them instead of allowing them to pinch themselves there on the bridge.
Sure.
They could actually went around and tried pinching our winning team, but that's something to look at, VOD review, and do better the next time.
You know, I'm sure, you know, they could take a coach girl. If you want to, you know, jump off the broadcast real quick, go help them out, come back in here. We know you have the ability, okay? We know you're telling them right here. Listen up. Girl coaching, I'm going to be your manager. It's going to be $2,000 every 30 minutes because that's the value she's bringing. She's got the oversight. And she plays the game more than anybody else. That's why we bring her on here. That's why we love having her, giving us the secrets for all Apex Legends stuff. I mean, game 1, it went well. Game 2, though, here's what I'm curious about. Will we see this same discrepancy between the top 5 and the bottom 15 like we've seen with no kills on those teams in the bottom 15? Or was that just nerves? Because a lot of times what happens is, the way I think about it, you're fighting 3v3. You may knock one. They may knock one of yours, but you don't go to get the KP on that knock. You stay as a 2v2 trying to fight. So maybe you even knock 2. Somebody 1v2s you because you're low. You know, you've knocked 2 players, but you get 0 elims there because you're trying to win the total fight. Do you think we'll see more teams as it goes on kind of still take that approach where kind of all or nothing? Or, you know, so many teams having 0 points, does that start to just go, okay, we got to do something here. We got to get a kill.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't think things are going to change that much just because Baguette LF do like to kill. They do hunt down, and they do have the aim to back up all of that confidence. So unless someone stops them early, I think they're going to try and do the exact same thing around. They did have some close fights, and if it goes wrong in this next game, then maybe the lobby will balance out. But I think like if they stay confident, dominant, and end up winning their 3v3s, they're not going to stop. You saw it there in the last game. They don't stop. They won a 3v3 on the right. They turn around left and go pinch another team, win another 2 3v3s back-to-back. It's just, you can't stop them.
You know, posture is like something that doesn't get talked enough about in terms of competing. You know, somebody comes onto the court, they come onto, you know, Apex Legends and the battlefield, the canyon, so to speak, and they just run at you. They have that kind of, you know, je ne sais quoi, a thing about them where you know that they feel they can win the fight. It makes you hesitate for a second because I think everyone starts to think, well, wow, they're just like, they're going in. They're like, we weren't prepared for a team to all in us and believe that they're going to come out on top. We thought we all might be poking and pressuring and seeing who gets the first knock, seeing who does more damage. When you push the pace like these veteran teams, you're going to see an advantage, I think, because these newer teams or maybe less successful teams are going to have to start to go, okay, our pace needs to match Baguette and TXC, and We Don't Play in AXF if we're going to have a chance in these lobbies, which, hey, you got 4 more games to do it, but You only got 4 more games, not 5, which is the cool thing about this new format that we're running, girl, and something I kind of am excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. And, 5 games, you're losing 1 game, but that just makes it that if you have a good average placement, a good average amount of kills, you might find yourself up there in the top 3. Now, if you can't play aggressively, if that's not your play style, I feel like you can play on the defensive end of things. If everyone in the lobby played defensive, if nobody got hit for 108 off the bat and just lost a team member and then ended up being in a 2v3 situation. If everyone just positions themselves well, I think they definitely have a chance against Baguette, 100%. It's just about that positioning, getting caught off on the rotation, being on a low ground position, being in the pinch position. There's so much to think about, but they're all weaknesses or disadvantages in situations against a sharp shooting team. So you got to make sure your back's clear. You got to make sure there's no holes in the windows that you're not looking at before they look at you.
Yeah, I think pace and prep is where we're going to see these teams start to shift. And I mean, for a second while we're here getting ready for game 2, girl, I want to kind of shift to the ranked season for you right now. I know a lot of players don't have a chance who are watching because they haven't gone to compete.playstation.com yet to have been in this tournament, maybe next tournament, but they're playing ranked. That's how they have a chance to engage. What are your thoughts on ranked so far this season, and how have you been performing? How's your experience been?
Honestly, ranked is fun. There's no max on kill points or assists, so kills or assists.
How has that been? What's the change been like?
Very aggressive lobbies. Nobody stops.
Okay.
Because if you get a really good game, then you get 400 points, 300 points. You get a high amount of points. So if you're only at that minus 45, minus 60, minus 80 even, you're not too worried about losing early because within the 4 average games, you're just going to gain all that back and more if you have a really good game. So you see a lot of people with nothing to lose. Now, in the higher ranks, in the top Apex Predator ranks, or once you hit, 25,000, 30,000 RP, you're going to see a big minus 165 on the top right of your screen. And then if you lose 2 games, it's barely even breaking even on 1 win. So that's where it's hard for top Apex Predators. But for pretty much the whole community, they're seeing a lot of fast-paced games. They're seeing a lot of just pushing, kills. This is a season where placement isn't as valued as other seasons. Yeah. And this is where you get your fight practice in, your adaptability in. It's hard. It's a tough season.
It's a tough season. It's been so, the earlier season that had kind of adjusted the way we saw ranked played for a while was really well liked. It was really well received. It did a few things though, I think, from like a perspective of separating certain player groups, and I think it was maybe 0.1% in split 1 were in Predator. 0.1% of the people who played ranked. If you look at that, like there's 63 million players who play every month. That's like 63,000 players playing, and we know all not 63 players who 63 million check in, but that's a comparative level that's like insane. Wow, only 63,000 out of 63 million, have a chance of being even in that regard across the world, across all platforms. And I think what to me is interesting is that you get a chance to practice, like you had just said, stuff that is adaptable. It's flexible. It's about being, it's about a different challenge and learning the game at a deeper level. And I think that's what makes Apex great in terms of battle royales. I think that's why big content creators have all been kind of coming over to Apex and saying, this game is the bomb. Like this, I don't know why I haven't played this as much as I played this or that. Apex is the bomb, and I think it's just that depth that all of the varying experiences offers, and especially in rank. So it's cool to see that even though it's challenging, girl, it's still different. It's still challenging you in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. And as long as you keep an open mind as to what to expect from the season, then you can have fun. Like if you don't think you can reach top 50 rank without super tryharding every single game, making sure you don't get those minus 165s, then at least have fun and have a good time fighting and fighting and fighting instead of beating yourself up over like, hey, I lost focus here one game, lost my team 165. You know, it's what are you looking for? Are you looking for having fun, improving your team fights, or are you looking like forward to a badge in the super hard rank system? And it's really up to you on what you want to achieve. I know solo queuing has been extremely hard for some people. I know there are a few people doing the solo to Masters or solo to Apex Predator. Div Q and G Dolphin are like in the very high range, like nearly 30,000 RP just solo queuing, which is minus 165 if you lose with 2 randoms, which could be platinums, which could be diamonds, and it's, you know, you can't expect too much when the skill gap is so different. You're an Apex Predator, you teamed up with a platinum player. How do you even that? How do you balance that out and win? That's another challenge in itself. So Apex, it's something.
It's something. I think that's a great way to end. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever had seasons where you ranked solo Predator but played ranked?
Solo to Masters. I did a solo to Masters in one stream before. That was probably my biggest solo accomplishment. I did solo to Masters in Japan servers, and you know, I obviously don't know Japanese, so.
What?
Yeah, but I had Japanese teammates. They're so nice, and like they would say sorry if we lose, even though it was my fault or something like that. And it honestly is so wholesome. I did solo to Masters with random legends where I would wheel spin.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of fun challenges, but I don't like to do it too often. Like I don't like to solo to Masters 5 times in one season. But you know, people find it challenging finding teammates, even content creators. To find teammates all the time or who are available at the time you play. So sometimes you got to do like fun little challenges to make content.
Yeah, I mean it's a different role of simply just being a gamer, right? These players, they just have to worry about winning. You're in a little bit of a different area where you're looking to entertain as well. Make some content that can last, that can do well across the internet. Kind of an interesting idea here, how you have to save a little bit of your brain for that, and these players can hyper focus in a bit of a different way. That's why competitive just brings something so fun. It is different than ranked, but you know, you've got your casual, you've got your arenas, you've got your ranked, you've got your competitive. I mean, there's such a great breadth of choice for your viewing and entertainment pleasure here on the Apex side of things. As we are now jumping into Game 2. Thank you so much for holding on with us as we got that lobby ready to go. And if that happens in the future, you'll see Girl and I break into, you know, some meta conversations, some fun back and forth, some things that will be helpful and also fun for those who are Apex fans in general. So also feel free to reach out in the comments section or on our Twitters at Rainday Gaming, at HeyGirl, to ask some questions. We might be able to bring those up during any potential downtime we have in the future. But no downtime here for TXC. They're right on it, and they've already lost Martinillo.
Okay, so another fight in swamps, and it looks like there's 3 teams in the vicinity, so you are going to see a third party coming in. This is not looking good for Indra, as they're now getting pinched by both teams simultaneously.
They've got Martinillo up, and the big door battles. A little bit of chess here. They decide to play checkers. Go straight through it. Nero in trouble. On the best legend to be in trouble on in a building like this. Take the zip line away. Got to be careful. Nobody has line of sight. That's good offensive defense right there. I love it. Create the pressure. Give yourself some space. Nero now with the shield cells. Raymond rotating on the right side, but it's for Shatel on FMA Titans, who's found a kill onto Inora, another player involved in the chaos here. And so they're going to find themselves 1 KP. We talked about it. These teams who have not been on the board, they're getting their kills now.
And here's our fourth team coming into Swamps, and it's Clippers trying to come in onto the action. So Raymond definitely going to have to be careful. TXC is on the back end of the stick. Nero's surviving with 1 HP, and that's something that is essential in surviving in a map like this. Kings Canyon, zones coming in right now. 4 teams on top of each other, all having a big decision to make here. Flatline shots coming in. Ravage, Alex going down. The likes of this G7 Scout, and here comes the fight. Big PK shot, another one! Just one more, that's a team-wide. Shadow Points was eliminated. Clippers take 3 in just an instant.
Talk to him! Z Stereo with exclamation points, no periods and no commas. That was the end of the sentence. The PK did the delivery. And oh my goodness, did that package arrive on time? What a couple of shots, a beautiful sequence from Z Stereo. That's what I expect from Clippers, one of our high-performing teams. And they were not anywhere to be found in game 1. Well, they're here, game 2, and speaking quite loudly for the rest of the lobby to hear.
Yeah, they're ready for the fight, so they know the pace, they know what's been going on in game number 1, and they know they gotta be ready. You want to be the aggressors in Kings Canyon, because once you start to get pushed, there's really nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. No one's really playing those defensive legends, or not many people, at least. They've got a little ways to go towards market side. Cage, it's gonna be hard to get through if a team is near Cage. It's just such a verticality advantage there if anyone is on Cage. So everyone's going to skip the Cage side. They're going to go on to the north end of the rotation. Clippers, they're still at labs. I think they're crafting over there, so they're going to be playing it slow and steady for now.
Oh yeah, Ronaldinho up into the air. No vuvuzelas ringing after that one. Looks like lost a lot of damage there. Ronaldinho may be going down very shortly because Viper Squadron has the aim down sights of the R301. Hit fire for that one, and that will be the end of Abuchin, our number 4 squad, I believe, from last game. So not a good back-to-back there. Part of this tournament is getting the job done every game, and so Abuchin will have to go back to the drawing board for game 3 with a new plan. Viper Squadron, though, picking up the pace here. The Octane jump pad, no need to do that. Put yourself in a bit of a precarious situation, and now the time to get aggressive is there because he knows he's got teammates following up. It's a good roundabout from Forsey, and they'll find the kill. Look at Dominus as well. That's not 1 health, that's half a health that Dominus is rocking. Shows you how well they executed that push.
Yeah, teamwork is the dream work, and being able to, you know, defend your teammates, get the kill before your teammate dies, that's really important in a game like this. So communication on point, the shots were on point. Baguette LF, they're in Relic right now, the old Kings Canyon. And they are on the hunt. Is there anyone to hunt in Relic? No, there is not. So you're going to see a revive here coming in the air base. A couple teams over here. Might be a fight, might not be a fight. Oh, and a knock comes in by Fate of Bloody. By Rom Plays, he takes down 2 back to back. Can he find the 3rd? Well, that's 2 kill points nonetheless.
Wow, Rom Plays, what a play. Nice shots with the R301. When you've got that extended mag to level 4, so many good things happen. Some of those last 3 bullets are really the difference between getting a full down or not, girl. So able to land those 3 really ends up making that weapon so much more lethal, as it does for all in Apex Legends, but the 301 specifically, just because it's so consistent, it chunks so well in terms of damage per bullet, and especially those headshots, which you're seeing Obelix try to take full advantage of here on top of the buildings next to Market. They'll just hold for now, as Taylor will take the top spot and do a little bit of scouting while Obelix gets back into the fight. And there's a Valkyrie ultimate. What can they do off of this? It's pretty good pre-aim there. Surprised all 3 of them didn't get enough damage to maybe get a knock. They got flesh on 1. But they will escape over towards the revived, revamped Skulltown.
Yeah, and that's where we see Koro Sensei kind of looking for the perfect rat spot, as they are a solo right now. Maddie, Perry, they're going to find themselves over to Gauntlet, where Mr. Namka, Mr. Prof, and then Rom Ramo is rotating towards, so there might be a 3v3 fight over there. Viper Squadron, Dominus, Twiggy, and Forsey. They're still alive, taking that left edge of Relic. And I love these little spots that they added to Relic. I find them so fun to fight around. But once too many teams come around, then it's hard to escape, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with some of these, right? You know, you take a good fight yourself, but it's not about that. You have to think 3 steps ahead. The fight now and the fight that might happen when we're done and the fight that might happen after that. Can we survive all of that? And if not, well, let's play our cards right. Let's not show them all on the table right now before we know how the river's going to flop. It's a good seer. Q right there, focus of attention. But you didn't need the Q to see that they were focusing their attention on that building. And PMB know it. Smokes inside, ready to hold. 2 ultimates there, so vision on both teams. But Dominus is the first one to fall, and that's the team on height. So a problem for Dominus here. Not a problem for PMB, though, but they've got to do something about this grenade. Will this be enough? Yes. Peril is okay, but exposes himself down to the delayed explosion of the Arc Star. And a couple of longbow shots from distance. Tough spot for PMB, but they are holding with the Newcastle. You just wonder, this is not an easy team to push.
It is not. They are currently holding Digi as well. They've got the Seer, so he can see through the smokes regardless. It is a hard push, and they've done a good job staying alive. They do got the Newcastle, as you mentioned. It's really hard to play these buildings. There's only a few corners that are kind of safe, but once all these teams do wrap around them, they might get angled out. That's the great thing of having Newcastle, is you always can just pop a shield no matter where they are shooting to block out that aggression. But take a look, We Don't Play. They want to get in there regardless, Newcastle or not. They're trying to output damage. Fessy takes down Azrael. Maddie goes down. PMB was eliminated. We Don't Play didn't get any of those kills.
And We Don't Play trying to pick up where they left off in week 1. Can they continue to do it? Baguette was on top in game 1 here, but Viper Squadron going out there, and it was Namka who finished off Forsey. You got to give credit where credit is due. Only 1 kill, but that doesn't mean that it might hike up now with 7 squads still remaining for We Don't Play to take their fight here at Gauntlet. And what an end zone this is, girl. Talk to me a little bit about these Gauntlet end zones, because you know, there is a distinct difference with all of the jump pads and the places to hold than most places that we see, you know, some of these games kind of have a finale.
Yeah, you already just saw it from PMB there, that these buildings are not easy to hold. They're easy to get angled out on. We Don't Play still outputting a lot of damage, not getting the amount of kills that they want, but they're helping eliminate some really good teams along the way, and then that'll just make it easier for them to win later. Take a look at these shots. Martin from TXC goes down. Namco, the perfect R301 shots. There's a couple teams around them, so they've got to be careful from these windows above, but they want to secure these kills nonetheless. He's going for it. He goes for the 1 clip. He pulls out his R31. Can he do it with this clip? He's getting turned on here. Namco has to fall down or eliminate the both of them. And he goes for the elimination. Raymond Martin are out. That's TXC's 2 members. He's even going to get a safe medkit off, regardless of these teams lurking around. No one's pushing.
Got me excited there, girl. I'll tell you why. Because those smoke canisters do 10 damage. And if he was able to land 2 or 3 of those with the R301, he only had about 20 damage to go. It might have been the difference between having to hit 1 more bullet or not. I love the ingenuity. It's a great tip if you are a Bangalore player right there. Write it down. In those close 1v1s, sometimes that smoke at your foot or onto your opponent could be the difference there. And I'm sure there's been some funny compilations of people trying to get final kills with just the canisters. Right there, and it ended up working out. Baguette, though, still alive. And this is the one thing this lobby didn't want, girl. I mean, everyone's playing really well, but the fact that Baguette is still alive and having such a big lead already is, it's a little bit disheartening, I would say. But it is still game 2, and a message here to Baguette would be big.
Yeah, Baguette, I guess, are thinking, hey, if we get a few kills each game, if we continue to get first place, no one can really beat us if we just keep up the amount of points and use our lead to our advantage. So that's what they're doing. They're not going to give anyone hope in this game. 5 squads left. They've only got one other team in Relic at the moment that they're fighting. That's Clippers. They're on the high ground, but it is going to pull more towards Gauntlet. Now, these two teams are not in zone. They've got 1 minute and 37 seconds to either fight or make the decision to rotate.
And that is a big decision to make, that is for sure. We'll see what ends up happening here. As 5 squads are left, it is crunch time here in our PlayStation Tournaments Wild Card Saturday. Wild card number 2 to be exact, and there's 2 teams who are going to have a bit of something to say to one another, and that's ROM plays going down. AXFF team going to get the quick KP and the armor swaps there. Dave just electing to use one of his 9 shield batteries. Think he got enough, Dave? I think so, at least for now. That caustic ultimate is going to put Baguette a little bit separate, but they are on the hunt, and that doesn't matter to them. They are fine taking a step back, with Obelix taking 1 step forward and 1 KP being added to their nade. 4 squads now still alive.
And we saw that Baguette ended up pulling a rotation. They caught the team off guard. They got them in the back there. Mr. Profin going for a revive right in front of them. Now that might cause them to push. 3v1 situation. Baguette LF wants this last kill. Or maybe they'll let the revives happen so they get those 2 extra kill points. Namka's down, and that might be it for Namka here shortly.
Baguette pushing in with a missed focus of attention. Just narrowly skirts past Namka. And Baguette will hold this building for now on the edge, as Namka just trying to stay away. AXFF doing a really good job, though. And this is what happened again. Mr. Prophet and Namka actually got pinched by Taylor and AXFF. This is almost the exact same thing we saw in game 1. And so Baguette and them just clearly superior here in these rotation tactics, not getting trapped in the middle of what we call the sandwich in Apex and being the bread and coming in on the side. That is a big difference. And look at this. Fortune favors the fortunate, doesn't it? And the bow is there. Not elected to go for it, but we may see one of the members on Baguette pick that up.
Yeah, it's just a hard decision to make because they are a very aggressive team, and the bow isn't the best close range weapon, or maybe not the most preferred close range weapon. And now that the circle is closed so much, they do have a high ground, they do have angles that they could use the bow, but maybe they don't want to drop their 301s in a top 3 situation like this. They know it's all full squads right now. They know that they've got to output some damage, and they know that they've got to move. I'm curious to see where they want to play. They could play on top of the building in Gauntlet.
Yep.
They've got Clippers that also have to move, so they're making their rotation to the platform right ahead of them, as Clippers are going to have to get themselves pinched here. They might have to take the low ground, jump pad. I don't know what their idea going forward is.
Oh boy, jump pad. That looks about as dangerous as that ring of fire right there.
Yeah.
Everyone has got eyes on the middle, which again, it's great to watch this kind of gauntlet circle. The idea, though, clearly is the skyward dive. Is this too early?
I think it's a good time. Nobody expected it. Nobody was looking at them as they were doing it, and they can get this high ground. But I don't know if this high ground is going to be safe. Oh, Bestie was right there. They're going to play the low ground right on under, but Cheka, I don't think, got the memo.
Gosh, yeah, I don't know about that play. To me, I didn't see the out, and I get that they were back towards the wall, but it is a tough one. And obviously, it just pays to be the last one to show up, and it's almost like as if Baguette just walk in casually and take the high ground. And they can see clearly, photo on the ground, Obelix and Perry, with Perry being down, decide to leave Taylor and Obelix up on top to represent Baguette. So could be a game where Baguette does not take the victory. That will be up to the last remaining member of Clippers, though, Z Stereo, as well as, I believe, this could be AXF. but I may be mistaken. I know it's last save, last arrows in photo.
I wonder why Perry ended up falling there. It seems unlike him to just jump onto the low ground, but FDTD did a great job in that 1v1 on the down low. He's going to go for the revive. Taylor seems to want to jump on this, and he's going to go for the shots. He does a little bit. He has this pole to hide behind. He goes for the R3-1 shots. They don't all connect. Can he get that armor swap? Is it a full and available?
Wow, look at the movement.
Woo. Yeah, but they have to be careful because the other team might end up dropping right on top of them. And take a look at this. They're getting angled out. They're on the low ground. It is going to be hard, but they Horizon Cube right on top of arrows here. That's a good decision.
That put Last Arrows in a bad spot because he took the Horizon Cube after them and they were ready for it. Oh my God, if Taylor gets this, Phoenix get off and Obelix gets this battery off, which Obelix already has, this is trouble. It's now a 2v2 against some of the best fighting squads that we have seen. And yes, that's a nice armor swap there. Revive did get up. You're right, girl. It's now a 2v3. But is that really a 2v3 when you have Taylor deleting players like this? What a showcase of execution and confidence. AXFF team had 3. And somehow, Baguette with just 2 have put the pressure on them in a way that not even 3 can stand. Last Arrows taking a little bit more of the damage, but look at this. Oh my goodness, once this bubble goes up, I think it spells the end, but AXFF team still a miracle potentially, but it's not looking like it's gonna happen. Last Arrows, last man alive, and no, Baguette LF is your champion in game 2 yet again, back to back, and this time they do it against the odds.
What do you think went wrong there? Or maybe what do you think went right? I'll tell you what went right. Baguette LF, they pinched them. Even though that they got the revive, they took angles from the sides of the dome and then they crossfired. And that's really what done it for AXFF, losing another member. They did maybe 300 damage when that bubble went down. That was amazing. That was well executed. And to win a 2v3 in the finals like that, that's gotta feel real good.
I mean, it's amazing because I love the way that you could tell they're coordinated. They have a plan, and they're not letting the game come to them. They're the ones who are making the game happen. And in life and in video games, you're going to see that that tends to pay off more than just being a bystander and waiting for the perfect moment to appear, because there's often not the perfect moment. This, however, might have been one of my favorite plays of the day. Z-Stereo with a PK clutch. Beautiful shots there. Z-Stereo also top forward for Clippers, so a better performance there. I'm not sure how many kills that they had, but ultimately it would go down to AXFF in a very good position. Viper Squadron would continue to push here, girl. And it was a nice push as well. Dominus would escape barely with his life.
Yeah, honestly, it's been incredible. A lot of 1 clips. The R301 did a great job, but we don't play. We didn't get to see them quite in the end zone as we would have hoped, really. Namka did a great job here with the clutch. Oh my goodness, the hip fire, but they ended up going down. AXFF, I feel like they are so consistent. I feel like they do such a good job throughout the whole game, but to lose in a 3v2 like that, that's not gonna feel good. That's not something you want. Just a small mistake, really. They split up. They were in a 3v2. They split up. They tried to run. Maybe they should have just fought.
I think you know, hindsight's 20/20. Of course, what they did wasn't the right decision, but I think they were right to think, let's play this slow. We have the man advantage. Let's continue to press that advantage and just wait for that team to be in more trouble. But once that fight happened, once they knew that there went from 3 squads to 2, and Taylor and Obelix pushed down low to finish off, I think, FDTD, there was an impetus that should have occurred in AXFF, or excuse me, AXFF, to jump down, all 3 of them, and take that fight. And that's maybe just a lack of information. Maybe they were in the building and were so concerned with staying inside that building because they had the best spot. They didn't know that that team was only a team of 2 instead of a full team of 3. So that could have been what ended up pausing them. But ultimately, I don't know, girl. It's a tough one. But it has put AXFF in 2nd place, which they'll be happy about. It has, however, put Baguette 37 points ahead of everyone else in this lobby. And with 3 games left, I'm not sure they're going to be caught.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to say, but I feel like if AXFF had just a little bit more confidence there at the end, if they could just build a little bit of confidence throughout this whole series before the grand finals, I think they're going to be a big contender for Baguette LF. They're so consistent. TXC with their new squad, they're doing really well as well, just 1 point underneath them. We don't play as well. They've got 10 eliminations, more than second, more than third, but they've not got the placement points, so they've got a little bit to work on as well. Clippers, they're there. They're back. FDTD ended up going down there at the end, but we got a lot of competition. But Baguette LF, they're taking all of the kills away from the rest of the lobby.
They really are. And our teams from 11th to 15th, starting to get some points on the board. Nobody is with a bullseye or a 0, but we do see that there are some eliminations still to be found in this lobby. You know what? At the end of the day, these players are, whether they've been around before or whether they're just joining us, all signed up on compete.playstation.com to be involved in this program. And you can too. Make sure to go to the website, check out all of the tournaments we've got upcoming, whether you want to be involved in it, you want to get some prizing, or you just want to know when our next wildcards are and when our grand finals is. All of that and more on the website, so check out compete.playstation.com. I got some things I want to say about AXFF and We Don't Play, but we'll do it after the break. See you in a bit.
Nice, Sue.
Welcome back to another exciting day of PlayStation Tournament's wild cards for our Apex Legends Master Circuit. My name is Rain Day. I am joined by Girl. Hey Girl on Twitter and on Twitch. Make sure to check her out. I'm Rain Day Gaming as well. Make sure to check in with me on Twitter. And of course, very excited to get to Game 3. We've had 2 great games so far, Girl, for those jumping in. It's been quite phenomenal to see these players show up after last season and still be as effective or more effective in certain teams. I'm talking ARS Baguette starting right where they left off, winning back-to-back games, and now setting us up for Game 3 where they could do it again.
Yeah, well, in the cards, it looks like they have a very high chance of doing it again. They could be the one team that wins every single game if they really want to. And who do we have to stop them in second place? We've got AXFF, we've got TXC in third place, we've got We Don't Play, who won in our last week's games in fourth place, Clippers in fifth, Viper Squadron in 6th, so we've got a lot of competition. But Baguette LF, they seem to be most dominant in kills especially.
They certainly do, and that is something that we're going to have to see if any of the opposing teams can change. I'm excited to see more domination. It's not up to me whether we can stop them, and I know Baguette do not want to be stopped here. Curious about the ARS to the LF Baguette. The Baguette LF ARS Baguette. Curious what the adjustment was, Girl, for the name change.
Not sure, but in the beginning they were also Baguette ESL, so this is their third name change throughout our series overall. But they're the same folks. They're the same dominant folks.
If they change their name to Croissant AC or something like that, or bread, something where they start changing the crux, the stability of the Baguette, then I'm going to start to get worried. But so far, it's just the beginning and the end. It's the little thing. So we'll accept it, Baguette LF now. But maybe this is the last one. Maybe this is the last change. We've got to cast you guys all the time. And hey, we have fun doing it. We're close to getting ready for game number 3 here, and we've been seeing the chat. I want to shout out for all of us watching all over, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitch, whether it's Facebook. Hello, welcome, Rain Day, Girl, we're here. We want to answer your questions. Shouting a few out here, right here as well. Sally Bash saying, I like her voice. Girl, you got a great casting voice right there. You're getting some love
thank
on
you.
the Twitch
I appreciate
chat.
it a lot. Thank you, Sally.
Dratty going, Baguette are too strong for this tournament. Dratty, I gotta agree. I gotta agree. Baguette looking really, really good. And a big shout out to Sarah Sutcliffe. We wondered where she was. She's here in the chat saying someone nerf Taylor. I think you're right. I think you're right, Sarah.
Yeah, Taylor, it's going to be hard to nerf, though. Taylor's aggression, confidence, it's not going to stop. Even if he's lost a fight, he still goes at it the next game. He's all claws and all in. It's going to be hard to nerf Taylor, unless we nerf Valkyrie.
Ooh, you think that would put Taylor a little bit more in line with everybody else?
I don't think I've seen him play anything else.
That's true. Is Taylor a one trick? Are we calling it out? Not Taylor. Not Taylor. Nah, we don't think so. We don't think so. But could it be? Nah,
he escapes with 1 HP all the time. He utilizes the low ground, the high ground.
Oh yeah.
Flying up all the time. He does a great job at Valkyrie. I wonder if it would be the same on another legend.
Well, a little bit of a question there. Girls raising, and I like raising questions. I like questions in general because they get you thinking, and thinking is the way our society continues to develop. Especially if aliens attack, Girl.
Okay.
We're gonna need to be ready.
Well, I'm sure you're prepared. I won't be prepared for that. I'll just be sitting here gaming if I'm taken away at night. Well,
You're telling me you're not prepared for aliens to attack right now? You don't have a backup plan?
My muscles aren't that big yet.
Show them the muscles, Girl. Show them the guns. She showed me she showed me these on broadcast. We were arguing. She showed me those on broadcast. I completely agreed with her after that. I said no, I can't. You're
I'm
too
not
strong.
Prepared for aliens.
Maybe
for a 1v1 boxing fight with Rain Day, but not for aliens.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Wow. Wow. On PlayStation tournaments. I'm getting called out.
You're going to have to see it. I got the shuffle down. I got the shuffle.
We got a boxing match at TwitchCon. That's the what, the big
maybe
ticket?
Maybe a chess match instead.
Chess match. Give me a break. Soccer match. How about that? We'll play some soccer. That's the way to do
hold on. I can't run that long.
Well, as we figure out how we are going to figure our competition out, I think AXFF and PMB have more pressing matters. PMB specifically with FMA Titans taking the fight to them. Oh, and that Havoc is it's just so tough to go against early game. It just does so much damage per bullet. And you have such little shielding, it almost doubles the efficacy of the weapon.
Yeah, the only way to really go against it is to shoot them first, just because it takes a little while to load up, and oh no, now they've lost, so FMA. But they'll be taking PMB down just with a little knock on their end. Well, you see it. We've got a team in rig. We've got maybe another 50-50 in map room, supposedly. Yeah, take a look at this. So Sarah's outside trying to run away. Getting the knock on Alex. Shadow Points was eliminated in that 50-50 there. So Red Fade, they'll pick up another 3 kills. And it doesn't seem like they're getting a third party just yet, but we do have a team Repulsor Viper Squadron coming in. And we're about to see another back-to-back fight from them. Forsey taking a lot of damage using his only shield battery left available. Doesn't even have a mag in his vault, but they really wanted this third party. They really wanted this fight. Assassin goes down. He gets back there, but his team is nowhere nearby to even go for a revive. So this is going to be a 3v2 situation. The volt shots coming in. Perfect mid-air against that Valkyrie. She's got nowhere left to go.
Forsey trying to run on the other side of it and cut off the player retreating, and does a pretty decent job of it. It's got to lead the shots a little bit, but good slide. That should get it done right there. Great movement, like a game of tag. Forsey caught what they were looking for. Now it's up to Dominus to try to turn the tides here. SARS looks outplayed, and that certainly was it. Viper Squadron will pick up a few, and they are a squad that has the ability to sting and to be lethal. They just don't always put it together in these lobbies. And I think that's kind of where, you know, we can see things to improve. I think everybody here is obviously on the beginning of their competitive Apex Legends journey as a squad, and it's been great to highlight and give them the opportunity to showcase themselves, girl. But there's no doubt that there are things to improve for some of these teams. Viper Squadron having to carry on that lethality in some of these early fights into late game situations and really be a presence in those final circles with some of the more well-orchestrated teams in this lobby.
And I think Red Fade could learn off of that right there. They won their 3v3 fight. They ended up getting pushed. And they could have scanned map room. They could have known exactly where the Repulsor team was.
Yeah.
They could have stuck together. I think that's just a small improvement that they can do next time, and that's exactly what Viper Squadron ended up doing, hitting map room. It's one of the biggest advantageous position to be in an early game position, because you know exactly where everyone is. You know which third parties you can possibly take. You can know which route you can get to market safely. There's just so much information you could grab from map room, and that's one small thing that they could have done better. They will do better in the next time, I'm sure of it. Caustic treatment, they'd not got far to go, as they could play in that small little southwest building area, but they might end up getting pushed by Viper Squadron there. So we'll have to find out as everyone makes their rotations into zone. FMA, they're so far up north near Crashite still. Got a long way to go. God Trio, I haven't seen much of them today lately. I know they did well in the first game. Tezer, I think, managed to make a top placement. Doing a great job rathing, I think, to top 3, but where have they been?
That's a great question. Clearly not getting to those late games as a trio. That's the difference, and it's hard on Kings Canyon. It's definitely a difficult problem to solve, and you know, sometimes those take time. I'm not sure I've ever had an algebra problem show up in front of me, and 1 second later I yell the answer. It always takes a little bit of time to think about it, and I think that's kind of where the iteration of being a team comes into play. I actually talked a little bit about this too in a video I did yesterday on the impact of TSM's new coach, Raven, and the impact it's going to potentially have, I think, on TSM, one of the more famous teams in the ALGS and in Apex. Just the ability to, create an environment where you can have these conversations that can really change your perspective on what went wrong and what went right. Because, when you're too busy yelling and you're too busy, emotionally expressing, it takes a hard time. It's a hard space to get analytical and really be observational about what needed to change specifically about that play. There's a lot of you're not good enough. There's a lot of how could yous. Not, hey, if you just actually moved 2 seconds faster and gave that information a half a second earlier, we could have won that fight. And I think, when you have a coach, it's a little bit easier to have those kind of conversations. So, not something that every team here is in the position to be able to do, but Viper Squadron, God Trio, teams that can put it together here and there, but are having trouble getting it all the way done. A coach, a fourth party, somebody to help manage those conversations so you can get to the bottom of something. I think it's a really valuable thing in esports. I think we're eventually going to be, that's the standard. Every team has a coach, 3 players and a coach in Apex. That's like how you do it. Like every sport team has that as well. I think it's going to be a standard.
Oh yeah, 100% agree with you there. I honestly, I'm baffled that more teams didn't pick up coaches earlier. I think TSM definitely could have benefited, and every team could have benefited from a coach, because not only after the tournament are you exhausted, you just don't have the perspective that someone else can get by watching all of the teams. And as we see TXC getting eliminated here by Clippers, even our teams here in the PlayStation Master Circuit, having a coach just, pointing out small mistakes here and there and making a game plan for you going forward, it is truly something that, needs to be done in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%. You said you released that YouTube video yesterday, youtube.com/RainDayGaming?
That's right.
Oh,
yep.
Nice. I am definitely going to check that out, because I love hearing about coaches, and honestly, I'm a very analytical person, as you know, so
yeah.
I'm excited to see that. We don't play, though. They're in a 3v3, so I'm going to hop back into this fight. Going for the shield battery. Team 7 eliminated. And who do we have around here? We've got 4 or 5 teams around here, actually. We've got Baguette LF to the west of them. Be a big fight.
Also, my marker.
They're actually chasing Baguette LF right now, and they might know them based off their skins, based off the legends. If they can hit these shots mid-air, this might be the end for Baguette LF's dominancy, winning 3 back-to-back games.
And look at this. I just don't understand. How are Baguette, Rom plays, Mr. Prophet, and Namka always fighting each other? This is what really is, I'm struggling to find. And at this time, though, it seems like Baguette, we don't play, may have the better end of this engagement. Like you said, being more aggressive, but there's a third party in the mix.
Very nice shots.
Their attention on that. Big crack there. Oh, and that's one down, and that is Perry. Could this be the end of Baguette? It certainly will be the end of one of them, but we know how good they are at making amends and getting that squad back to full. No crypto this time to do it, but it does look like this could be something different now. G7 Scout raining from Mr. Namka, adding damage. And there's not much more players on the other end of it can take. Mr. Namka just has to be careful here with not overcommitting. And Mr. Profin, Mr. Namka going in on Obelix. Not much more room for him to play. They're going to pick up, I think if they play this right, 2 teams down, 2 placement points, and about 4 kills, as they have eliminated Viper Squadron. And I believe they have eliminated, no, they haven't.
Most of Baguette. Most of them.
Baguette, but Taylor has made it out, girl. And fights on. Just when you thought you had him.
I wonder how many banners he's got, because that's going to be really important for the rest of the lobby. It looks like he's going for a relic. He's got none of them. 0 banners, so it's going to be a Taylor one-man army here at the end. We've seen it happen in the very beginning of our PlayStation Master Circuit where, you know, he tried to make some clutch plays, and we're going to maybe see it again here. But the likelihood of Baguette LF winning another game is now drastically lower. He is trying to rotate into a safe spot, but really, what is a safe spot when you're a solo on this Kings Canyon small map?
That's a great question. I'm not sure it's been ever answered before. I'm really not sure that that answer exists. And if you do find the answer for it, then I think you got to tell everybody. Tweet it out for sure, because people will want to know. Kings Canyon is such a short map. It's one of the smallest map in all of Apex Legends, and it's created very hard places for solos to exist or coexist with other squads without being found out, especially in the seer meta, which is so difficult to rat with in any way. So I'm very, very excited to see if Girl can come up with what she's looking for. We'll have to wait, though, I'm sure, until she gets back in the game and starts looking for some things, ratting it out in her ranked games. And a Buchin with the G7 Scout. This, to me, we talked a little bit about this in dropping in, the go-to weapon this season. I think the 30-30 repeater with all the buffs and with the new Skull Piercer returning, the old new Skull Piercer returning as a hop-up, still the G7 Scout, whenever that's available, just reigns supreme in my eyes.
And Clippers ended up going out there, so one less squad to compete with. Only 6 of them left, and not many of them are truly in that end zone where Taylor's lurking and hiding for now. No one taking those end zone positions, and that's just Kings Canyon meta. Stay on edge, make sure you don't get pinched, because once you do get pinched, then it's kind of hard to get out of it. And a Buchin, you're getting shot at by a charge rifle. You don't see many charge rifles anymore, actually.
You really don't, and I think it's just the fact, A, that the Scout is a better secondary, and it does a lot of the pressure a charge rifle will do, but the pressure isn't necessary. The Scout's positive elements and weaknesses are different than the charge rifles, but the Scout's weaknesses don't get exposed on Kings Canyon because it's such a smaller map. The Scout's weaknesses would be more exposed on a map like Storm Point, where the charge rifle's strengths of hit scan and long-range pressure would actually start to maybe balance out those weapons or push more towards the charge rifles. You know, I think strengths naturally, and so I think that's probably why that we're seeing more Scouts run with more clarity, and the charge rifle's really not being taken advantage of. It's just not worth getting that weapon and fighting close range with it for most players.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. And another thing about the G7 Scout is late game, if you need to change your weapon and you want to change to an R9 or an R301, you can do so easily by just, you know, changing up one gun. And if you have the charge rifle initially, then you have to pick up all the attachments as well. And that could be the defining factor between losing and winning. And now take a look at Dave. Dave's going to pop his battery. Eros is popping the med kit. They're all going to be full HP. They're in a very safe corner with a caustic. They have the ulti. They're going to throw it out. Is it going to connect? It hits too, but it only slows them down for 1 second as they end up running away. Namka's going to heal up. And AXFF are playing passively. This is them. They like to play defensively, they like to play their lives, and that's how they stay alive for the most part. Very good cover, very good defensive play by Dave, but is it going to be enough as they push and Eros continues to take damage? They look like they're trying to angle them out. Bessie almost going down as well. Can they get the knock? This is going to be really important from them. Dave, very nice shots, but he does not get a knock. What is going on? They take down Bestie. Namka alive. Get it, Dave.
God.
Yes, he does it. But now he's in a 1v1 situation. He's on the low ground. He's getting shot at. His barrel is going to go down. It's hard to see through this smoke, and the barrel isn't going to save him. AXFF was eliminated yet again.
I don't know. I think there's so many things. You look back at that. Dave did so many good things. I think it was winnable, but it would have had to be a perfect play. And maybe it's just the fact that all of those moves were on the wrong target at the right time, or were at the right time on the wrong target. I think there's just an ability with the way that I saw Mr. Namka push on that far side, and Mr. Profin was a little bit isolated. Instead of Dave approaching Mr. Profin and, yes, hitting that almost full one clip to force Mr. Profin out of the fight, if Dave was really going on Mr. Namka, I think they could have kept 2 or 3 alive, finished off Mr. Namka, and then had a much more even fight with Dave giving them the advantage with the caustic barrels. But again, not my call, not what happened, and at the end of the day, we don't play. Did not play there. They go ahead and make that win, and it's 4 squads left here in Apex Legends. A big game here with game 3 as Baguette
is eliminated
and has been the only team to win up until now. So we will have a new winner and someone who will get much closer. And I think right now, my bet is as long as we don't play can get in the circle, which they certainly can, it's on them.
All right, FMA Titans, they're doing a great job, but they are pinched. They've got to make a decision. Tezer is going to get shot in the back here. Tezer goes down, and God Trio is eliminated at 4th place, giving FMA a little bit of room to play with now, but they are in the pinch. Rashado going down, Namka pushing up.
We don't play. Holding these angles going into the gravity lift. That's going to get some height. Mr. Namka pushing here on the left-hand side as well. And I love that double time. Kicking up right as he rounds the corner. Probably avoids a couple of bullets. And there is that rolling thunder, that creeping barrage, allowing We Don't Play to give some space to themselves and hold out the rest of the squad. But sooner or later, they're going to have to be the ones that move in to the final part of this circle. And so, Girl, they are trying to make their way in. They haven't really quite found it. They do have 2 movements, 2 utility options to get onto height if they want to, but it's really about getting to the other side of this wall when a full building is being bunkered down right in front of them.
Ignore me, I'm hungry.
Yeah, so they have a few ways to do it. They have Pathfinder, who can create some kind of space by grappling and taking some sight lines away from the rest of his team, but they also have that Bangalore and the Bangalore smokes to utilize for defense. They're getting shot at from the range, and they decide to take honestly, not the approach I would have taken, because there's such an open field over here that they can get shot at, but this is what I'm talking about, the Bangalore smoke, utilized so perfectly well. That's going to create some space for them to push up, but it's also going to force this team to now push up onto the wall. Now this is going to be a dangerous 3v3 to take, and it's going to be hard to close the gap yet again.
We Don't Play having to do a lot of work here, but it's a 3v3, and they're happy about that at least, because they tend to come out on top, and at least they have throughout the rest of this game. Smokes here for Mr. Namka means that space that would have been very exposed now isn't. He can continue that flank, and this is one of the benefits of playing Bangalore in open spaces and final zones. But Lucas Sadi and the rest of this squad, they're fighting, has the building, and these canisters nice and wide. The issue I see is, are they going to do something cohesively? Are they going to allow We Don't Play to set the tone, Girl?
I mean, Buchin, they're doing a great job holding them off, but these G7 scouts, if they continue to take damage, that's going to allow Namka and the rest to move forward at some point. Although they only have 28 seconds to do so, they've got 1 smoke, now 2 smokes. So that'll give them a good amount of cover. They need to create it for themselves. They know exactly where they're playing. The shield battery's going to pop, and someone's got to make a move. And that's going to be We Don't Play, as they currently...
Oh!
That was almost a knock. He's pushing off that.
Yeah,
he's taking space. Yeah, you have to.
And I think that was the big problem I saw. High ground was going to prevent them from moving in without taking too much damage, but they did the damage first, and that has allowed Mr. Namka to thrive in here, looking for the shield swap. It's the fastest way to get a heal. Is he going to get it off? Yes, that should be it. We Don't Play takes game 3. We got ourselves a tournament here.
Wow, incredible. Very good long-range beams from them all, and the armor swap came in. He didn't even need it. His teammates ended up doing the rest. He just needs to get that 1 kill, and then his teammates are strong enough to take that 2v2. They're confident. They're playing together. They've won
Yeah.
The only game that no one else has won besides Baguette LF. So congratulations to them. I can't wait to see the leaderboard and see how much closer they've finally put themselves. They got a lot of kills too.
They did. And, you know, Baguette getting maybe a 3-4 point game at max, for them now to have maybe a 20-point game, something like that. Remember, the difference was about 37. And so to make up 20-plus points in that, maybe 18 points, that's a big deal. That leaves a lot of hope for 4 and 5. But, you know, Baguette, they slipped once. I don't expect them to keep slipping. But I guess We Don't Play has put themselves in the conversation here. So far, it was a good start. I mean, Kings Canyon games, takeaways here, because we're past the halfway point. Fast, obviously. You know, aggressive. I like to think so. Fun to watch, too.
To be honest, what I took away from this is the aggressive teams are always coming out on top. It's kind of a little bit like rankings Canyon, where even if you lose a game or two, if you have an aggressive, good game with a lot of kills and a win, it just puts you right back up there. So you want to be the team that is aggressive. Now, AXFF is kind of a showing of this, right? They like to play life. They like to play it slow, and they do a decent job most of the time. But the aggression, the confidence normally wins if you're looking at the bigger perspective.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I mean, we've almost seen two ways of playing Apex clash, and sometimes aggressiveness works, but I think at the end of the day, too, you know that your metric is winning the game. And so you can get aggressive, you may not win, but you're going for the win at 100 miles an hour. Teams that are just kind of playing and hoping a win shows up, seems like they're getting lost in the fray and might find themselves more in the middle of the pack, which ain't a bad thing. There's still some money on the line for 3rd and 4th, but it's not that 600 they're fighting for first place today. Big game from Mr. Namka. I love the Bangalore. The first 3K I think we've seen, and that is just a massive testament to how well they have played as a squad. It's going to be 15 kills and a first place, so a 27-point game for them, which is massive stuff when you consider the fact that if Baguette didn't really get too many points, I'm going to give them 2 or 3. You know, they could be cutting that lead down to around 10, 15.
Oh, yeah, 100%. They've all done an incredible amount of damage. And We Don't Play got game number 3, but they've only got 5 games left to play, so they don't got too much time to close this gap, which is Baguette LF 63 points. We Don't Play at 45 points. All right, 18-point difference. It's possible. It's definitely possible as long as Baguette end up going down again and they can net themselves another win with a lot of kills. It's most definitely possible.
You know, more than halved. They more than halved the deficit, and that is all you want to do in Game 3. And then you just do that again in Game 4, and you set yourself up for Game 5 being effective. But look at the task that they have ahead of themselves. Not just doing that once, but essentially doing it now for the next 2 games in a row. We Don't Play have made a statement. They have to bet on themselves again and continue to make that statement. I did love the way that they were playing. I think Mr. Namka could be the game changer there, though. I think if that Bangalore continues to have the flexibility I saw Namka do, and then also the lethality and the confidence, the way that we saw, I'm not sure if it was last Dave, I think it might have been last Arrows on the high ground. Actually, I'm not, no. It might have been Luca Sadi on the high ground from Abuchin. That's who they were fighting. The way Namka lasered that player, holding that high ground, really, I think, made the difference in that fight. It allowed them to push in, it allowed them to be aggressive and have numbers, which wouldn't have happened if that high ground was able to beam them as they were kind of walking in on that fight. So, to me, if Namka keeps playing like this, We Don't Play have a chance.
Yeah, and there's just a little small error that happened in the last game where you get beamed. It happens to all teams, but once your teammate gets beamed, you know they're out of the fight, you know they can't cover fire, you know that you're essentially in a 2 versus 3 at the moment, then you have to retreat, you have to play it safe. If you're wide open for a 3v2, then you're most likely gonna lose that fight out there on the wall. So next time, that's the micro decisions. These are like in the moment, fast decisions that people have to make, and that's why Apex Battle Royale is so intense and so fun to watch.
It is. It is all the great things that we love to see in Apex and in gaming, and they bring it all together in a scintillating finish that allows all of us to enjoy kind of watching these tournaments back to back to back. I mean, the 5 games, they go by so quickly. We're on number 4 already coming up here for those watching in the chats all across all channels, PlayStation. Ray Negro here. We're happy to have you. And it has just set the table up for a really fun into our European side of things. We do have North America later on in the afternoon, so don't worry, we're not 2 games away from being done. We're going to take a break after those 2 games and come back with a whole new region. But for Europe, it's been a good showcase, and I think big picture, we don't play, they won last week. What are you seeing different about them this week? Or, you know, I guess, what are your thoughts on how they've transitioned from week 1 to week 2 based on having seen them, their first performance, and having seen them come on top in game number 1?
I think they're still doing an incredible job. They're still W King. They're still playing aggressive and confident. I think what the big difference is this week is the competition. There are a lot of different teams in here today. So if there's different teams, the lobby's going to play out differently. In our week number 1, the lobbies were a lot slower. People were playing their lives. No one wanted to fight. In the very beginning, at least, of the tournament. And this week, it's right off the bat, aggression, confidence, fighting, third-partying. Everything's happening so fast that we don't necessarily get the time. They were more or less playing end zone and getting all the fights in later on and winning their 3v3s. But if all of the kills are taken before the end zone even happens, then they have to adapt to the lobby to try and catch up to Baguette. So there's so much going on.
And, you know, that's to be presumed with the lobby is now the second week it's happened versus the first. So not even nerves, just more comfortable with the map, more comfortable with Kings Canyon in a ranked and a competitive perspective. So you're going to have more confidence, and you're going to have more aggressiveness because of that confidence, because you won't be so hesitant as you were in the first part of things, feeling it out, testing it out, kind of seeing where you thrive and what works well. But aggression has kind of been the theme for today. Every team has been willing to take those fights, whether it's early game, whether it's mid-game, and certainly in late game. We've seen some slowing down of it, but we get to top 6, top 5 pretty quickly here over Kings Canyon's gameplay length. And I think that this is now turning into a question of how much do you trust your 3v3s? How much do you trust your timing? And I think that's the one thing I saw Baguette do differently in game 3 than in game 1. Unlike how We Don't Play was getting caught in the middle of AXF and Baguette in a lot of these earlier game 1s and 2s, they were the meat of the sandwich, so to speak. Now it feels like Baguette, for the first time, got caught in between 2 teams and had to split up, and Taylor had to run, and they lost Perry and Obelix in some of these fights near the Caustic building. And so this is now an opportunity to seize that momentum for We Don't Play. Keep playing from the outside. Keep being a third party versus the party in the middle that gets third partied, and trust yourself in your aggression. If they want to go back to back in week 1 as our wildcard winners to week 2, they're going to have to get through the gauntlet, the giants of Apex Legends PlayStation tournaments in EU. That is Baguette LF. And the only game they're going to have to perform in is every single one from now on. So the temperature is rising. The heat, it's getting hotter in here. You can feel the sweat starting to happen on these players' brows, because guess what? It is go time. It's time to show up if you want to do it. And so We Don't Play here, loading into the lobby with Baguette. We'll see what they've got as we get to our character selection, girl. We're still seeing Ronaldinho on the Revenant. I'm not seeing him in game.
I'm telling you, the Revenant, you know, is really fun, but if it's not working out in a specific tournament, what are you going to do? Are you going to switch it up or continue to use them in it? They're going to continue to use them for now. Rafsan with the Octane as well. They're the OG Kings Canyon Revenant meta. They're still in that meta, and they're trying to make it work, and props to them for trying. And I honestly hope to see it work out at least once in this tournament. I want to see them pop off, pop an ultimate, and end up pushing a squad. But for now, we're just going to have to wait and see as the teams drop. Are we going to see another 50-50 map room? Or are we going to see another 50-50 crash site? Most of the squads are landing. Clippers take the whole of Capacitor. TXC take the whole of Labs. We've got Viper Squadron and Map Room.
Let's go over here.
Not are they getting 50-50? Yeah, they are. Another 50-50 there.
Might be good to check some of those out. We saw this fight earlier with 4C and Dominus. Let's see if they can take it again in their favor. Game 4, these things start to mean so much more because then you only got one game left. So whatever you're at, you're trying to add 2 games of points in your mind. You go out right here, you got a big fat 0 and only 1 game left. Viper Squadron, though, lucky to have the Seer in their midst. That'll give them a lot of information in terms of where these players are. 4C taking high ground, probably the best place to be. As you can see, there's not a lot of aggressiveness from all team members, but there is between Dominus and the Gibraltar, who is on the hunt with the Havoc. It is a better trade for sure against an early game Gibraltar. Got that 50 extra health, but now SARS is in trouble. That bubble is up, and unless the shield battery can get up, yes it can, it is still going to be a problem. It looks like they're going to lose SARS here, and now it's up to the rest of the team facing off against Viper Squadron to see if they want to contest 2v3 or do they just want to run. And they're going to contest, and it is not going to work out.
You gotta stick together with your team, especially in the early game 30v3s. You can't really expect a flank. The closer you are with your team, the stronger you are together as a unit. It's late game where you try and take those angles, you try and make those game-changing plays, but I think in the early game where everyone's weak and everyone's holding hands, you just gotta do the exact same as them, otherwise you're at that disadvantage. TXC, they're fighting in Labs, making some shots against Clippers, I think, so 2 very strong teams. And this is just a hard angle to push because TXC, they have the staircase behind them. They can go up. They can have that, you know, high ground advantage per se. And they also have an escape with the Labs portal at any time. So they definitely have a great spot, but it doesn't seem like they want to push out either. I think they're just going to go on their merry ways and meet up again later on. Oh, well, they're trying to rat it out.
They are. Look at this. And how will this unfold? The patience. It's sometimes a big strength. Sometimes, though, your patience, waiting too long, the moment passes you by. I'm a fan of going for it. I think they need to get more aggressive here. But at the end of the day, I can understand it, too. It is a game that matters so much in terms of the points and the prizing. PMB holding the top of artillery. Not many teams behind them, which is great. At least that they would hope. Focus of attention now on the side of PMB, but they'll relax for that. They'll fire their own and not get anything in return. So, bit of a stalemate here. 2 teams throwing bullets at each other from across the way. Not going to mean too much, but a laser sight added to the alternator. So if there is pressure onto Fancy, it will work. But look at this. A squad lands in right on the way. Fancy has to put that laser sight to good work right away. And it's going to be Vashatel who is going to go down to the low ground. And this is trouble. I'm not sure I would be pursuing this if I was Fancy, even though it is maybe an easy kill. There's another team approaching here. It's the team from across the way who smells blood in the water.
All right, the Gibby ulti's coming down. He has healed himself up. Alternator going in through, but not doing as much damage as Matt would have wanted. The Horizon ulti comes down. He gets out of it, but they have line of sight on him. He's trying to fly away. He needs cover, and he needs cover now. Good cover that he did find. He's going to heal up, and that's Team 7 Black finding themselves right behind them. They could have gotten knocked. That would have been really good for them. Looking at the armors that they have right now, they're going to walk up here. I think that's FMA right in front of them, pushing them on the other side of this building. So the R301 coming in, doing very good damage. The Volt in hand. We're going to get some shots, but not a lot of them. He's going to play it safe in the building. taking angles, and now they're going to go up for the high ground. So this is going to be that 3v3 fight that we were looking for. Indra going down, Danik going down. FMA is absolutely dominating in this 3v3 situation, and Team 7 Black was eliminated. That was really close in the beginning, but FMA really took advantage of playing that high ground and playing it safe. They have a team right under them. They didn't end up getting third-partied. Oh, but they might be getting gate kept inside of this tunnel. That's not looking good, as this round one is going to do a little bit of damage, but it's survivable. If you can't go through the tunnel, you're just going to have to take your time and go around the left side. All right, so PMB was the team on the other end of that tunnel. They were the ones gatekeeping, per se. And let's take a look here on the other side of the map. We've got Bangalore ulti underway. It's not going to connect on anyone. That's Mr. Profit Namka on the outer edge of that building. There's a lot of teams here.
All right.
On this side of the map.
Big stuff here from Baguette. An opportunity to go against the one team that has a chance of catching them. That's one way to do it. Just get rid of them right now. That's your only competition here. And these G7 Scout shots, man, they are hitting it only with an HCOG one time. Don't let that person get a Ranger on there. I'm not talking about the National Park kind. I'm talking about that 3-time scope. That will make this even more lethal from a distance. Right now, Oblic's doing all the work that they need to do, though. They have forced that team away. And smartly, there's been a retreat from We Don't Play as well. No need to take that fight early. This is kind of what I mentioned from them. Don't get caught in the fray when you do not know how to handle or not maybe ready for the third party that might be approaching.
God Trio have lost one, but they managed to survive as well. It seems like Baguette is playing a lot more safe. They did get a knock, and they still didn't insta-push off of that, which we normally would see them do, especially as an aggressive team as they are. But now they know that there's some competition to be met here in this Kings Canyon map, and I feel like you can sense the pressure that they have on their shoulders here today.
No doubt about it. And in many ways, holding that lead can be tough, too, for Baguette, because they know what they're expected to do. This is one of the reasons I love the Scout. It's so good hit fire, and it's so good long range. Taylor going to get a quick shield battery as well. Makes the decision, it's going to stick it. Even if there's pressure around. And I like the decision there. High ground for sure. This is the benefits of Valkyrie. Get your angles. That's what the character is for. Oh, big shots there, and Taylor finds one on Peril. And that spells peril for the rest of the squad. Azrael is forced to retreat, and this will be a cleanup of at least 2 onto the side of Baguette. So 2 more points towards the top of the leaderboard. That's a nice day at the office for the squad near Spotted Lake. But as you can see here as well, if you start to notice in our map, it's actually going to be a rotation from Taylor and the rest of the squad that needs to happen. Luckily, though, on that northwestern rotation, they don't have anyone there. So Spotted Lake is going to run quite easily into the northern side of this. And most of the teams are choosing to come from the south. And that, to me, the most interesting dynamic of this is that We Don't Play and is going to be in the mix with a lot of teams coming in trying to have that exact same position they are. It's going to be a lot more work for them, I think, girl. What do you see here in this map?
What I see is a bunch of banner camping from Baguette. I see a bunch of it happening right now. They're going to rotate in, but Azrael really wants to snag those banners, and obviously they've been playing well, and I don't know if he has enough time. He's going to go in now. I just want to see the seconds on there, but we'll see that shortly. We've got a fight going on here. Oh my goodness, so many teams coming inside of Airbase AXFF. They've got Dave on the Caustic, and this is one of those situations where Caustic can be very effective. They're going in, they didn't even need that ultimate. He's going in for the shots. Is she gonna fly away out of their reach? She's 1 HP. Does she actually get away from them? This is insane. That was the best escape we've seen today, honestly.
Oh my God, that's not even 1 HP, girl. I swear we are seeing less than 1 HP more and more. That's not even half. That's got to be a quarter.
Oh, she got chased down. That's Clippers coming in from the west side.
From the east side, from the west side. I mean, if a gentle breeze blew on Kareem, that was going to be it. With that amount of health. Oh my. That was a daring escape, to say the least. That's some Tom Cruise Mission Impossible kind of stuff. Clippers, will they find some rhythm? Been a little quiet today. Although they've gotten better and better with each game. They're a team that can win it. Will they kind of throw something into the mix? If you're we don't play and you're Baguette, you don't want that. And especially if you're we don't play, you don't want that. If you're Baguette, you actually don't mind, because they take away points that we don't play would be getting to simply make the climb towards you. And they're the only team now that have the ability to climb and beat you. Clippers would kind of be cannibalizing that. And in a way, you're fine with it. As long as you get your points, you keep your lead pushing, and you stay up top.
Rom ended up getting a knock there in the kill feed. FMA Titans, they're going to be healing up. They do have to make themselves over to runoff. Actually, half the lobby have to go to runoff right now, or the pit. We're going to see Clippers with a Valkyrie ultimate. 9 squads remaining, not all full squads. So much is happening around the map. But they're going to scan it all as they move forward, and they're just going to focus on themselves, focus on that rotation as they should. And they have all of runoff to themselves. No one has occupied these buildings, and they're going to find that out soon. FMA, very nice shots with the R3-1, but a little too much damage taken. Dominus doing a great job of taking down Broken.
So let's get you a do-over, huh?
Nubis holding with the stick. Dominus Twiggy down below. That's going to be a focus of attention. It's going to cancel the stick as well, and that's Shaka. FDTT, TDTD, and Z Stereo coming in from Clippers. Trying to make a mess of this, and they certainly have done so. Into the void for 1, and that's going to get Shadle out of this for now, but the problem is still there. The rent is still due. Anubis finding a really nice shield battery. Very clutch for this moment, as they will do to escape. Ronaldinho there as well. I saw a little bit of it. There it is. It's the Revenant coming in. We're going to see a silence here. That would be terrible. It is a silence. No into the void. No ultimate for Shadle. That's done. And Revenant showing what Revenant can do. Ronaldinho and the rest of Rat Kings living to their namesake on the nice rat play. But are they going to make it out alive? Because Clippers are staring down a 2x4 with an R-1, and that's a deadly sight for any team to be facing.
No, Ronaldinho went down. Anubis as the solo took down Rasan. That's not looking great for them. Maybe a recovery inbound, and they do see Anubis. They've got Anubis pinged. Anubis, oh my goodness. What a corner to be in right now.
Talk about a little rat spot right there. The Rat Kings may want to talk to Anubis after that. Anubis showing some other underworldly powers like the namesake, the Egyptian god of death. One of my favorites in some other games that I've played, and of course in Egyptian mythology. We'll see if he can come from beneath in this one from that rat spot and make an impact. Raymond and TXE in the mix here. They've got Sarah supporting them from the side. Looks like Anubis will go back to the underground where he came from here. But Wolnero and Martinillo finally get themselves a win. You know, the roster change, that can mean so much for the confidence, girl, of the players. Just putting it all together, getting that W and going, you know what, this is why we did this. This is the reason. You know, we expected this. Maybe it didn't come soon enough, but we know we've got the potential now.
Well, we've got Clippers taking the majority of that end zone. The zone is pulling towards them. As long as they can hold all of these walls, they'll be okay. But if they do end up getting pinched later on, it's going to be a hard spot because they don't have much cover. They have this corner here, the walls, But that is it for them, and they are trying to get angled out by, that is TXC, the new TXC. They're gonna go for the stun. It's going to hit. Everything's connecting thus far, and they're still in a great position. We've got a lot of teams now moving towards the zone as they're in this 3v3 fight. They're pulling a lot of attention that might come their way. Baguette is flying in as well, so they're going to be able to scan these two. That is Baguette in the air, trying to find a good spot, and they actually end up playing inside of Runoff in all of the buildings.
Clippers in a bit of an interesting spot here because they've got a team to their right they've got to clear out, and this is what they're trying to do. And it's TXC, and they have the high ground. It feels like they're going to be able to do it, but what can Raymond do to maybe turn this around? They've got Ronaldinho. Our Revenant friend has fallen. No more silences out of him for now. The Clippers did this fight in just top 5. Take too much away. FPT is actually down also. Raymond looking to finish that off. Do they know Stereo is here? We know how good he can be with the PK. Will he be as good now? Hitting for 45s and 9s. The flat line is singing, but 300 damage into the shield. Not what Stereo wants, so he takes the high ground. It's just one more shot to get Cenero, and he's going to get the shield swap. That guarantees it right there. Clippers will come out on top in this one, and they'll heal up, and they have cleared their right. So now Clippers maybe in the best position. Nero in the middle of everyone in Runoff, and Taylor, Harry, Terranez, and Obelix still alive for Baguette. What the lobby did not want to see, but hey, if it's gonna be a win, you're gonna have to earn it, because We Don't Play is on the backside as well. So 3 teams that have been fighting for months here in our PlayStation tournaments, wild cards, master circuit. They're gonna have a chance to prove who's best.
Seems like they pushed them off for the time being. Not getting pushed anymore, but they still aren't in zone, and I don't feel like they've got much to play. They're gonna play that low ground right in front of them. They're gonna fight for it. I think that is their play. They're going outside, they're getting shot at, they're trying to play under the bridge. Trolls under the bridge for now, but can Perry play and make it alive? Notice the legend change as well. He's on Vantage.
Wow! Didn't get a chance to see a lot of parry this game, but really great call out there. I wonder what has been going on with them. It's clearly worked to get them in the top 4. But love seeing the newest legend in Apex on display like that. High ground, though, just for Clippers. I feel it's just so strong right now. Not a lot of defensive capabilities on the side of Baguette. So this is where I'm wondering, how do they get out of this one, especially with 2 teams on the sides here, and with Baguette actually going to have to move earlier than We Don't Play. I like this attempt, trying to maybe get somebody up off the gravity lift, girl, but not going to work this time for Cheka.
No, I completely agree with you. If they continue to look down on them, there's really no escaping from under that bridge as they're getting crossfired forward. So they are the next team to get eliminated unless something magical happens where Clippers ends up getting crabered by the enemy team. I don't know. Oh, no, but something they left the right. No, this is actually really good for Baguette. They can take the left side now. They can go up. They can take the high ground. They can pinch Clippers. Clippers stopped watching their back, and this is not looking good for them at all.
With a stroke of luck, and maybe a bit of poor decision making, it would appear Baguette have been given a lifeline. The leaders in the lobby that We Don't Play on this other side are trying to catch no longer have a team directly to their left. But will it matter? We Don't Play. Rom plays, goes down. Clippers may be playing for the long game here, but did they give up an opportunity to finish out Baguette? They've still got the high ground, but Baguette are covered on all these angles, and suddenly it's feeling like Vantage is going to have a nice little vantage point if she can get all the way up to Echo. 5 shots on the sniper, and that's a quick destruction of the ultimate there from Horizon. Clippers looking to get a little separated here. The gravity lift will bring them up and over, trying to fight Taylor yet again. Clippers still looking very, very healthy, though. So although the chaos is here, it does seem like they're getting the better end of these trades, and Baguette will be eliminated. Clippers might have just made a bit of a gamble here, but it seems like it might pay off for them. Mr. Profin, we don't play. They've got something to play for. If they take this kill right here with Z-Stereo on the bottom for Clippers, they will be able to clean it up and get that much closer to Baguette. Setting up for an incredible Game 5. We don't play wins 2 in a row. Can they do it? Can they catch Baguette in Game 5 for the win?
I cannot believe what I just witnessed. It looked like an opening for Baguette. It looked like they could have pinched Clippers, and then we see Rom on the bottom just getting knocked out of nowhere, completely out of position, and then they take the win? They end up taking the win after all of that. It's just so much to process. That was like, for someone that's really analytical, that was like, whoa, 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 what?
Whoa,
why? Why did all that happen? But it did, and we don't play. Even though they made that small mistake, that recovery with the Horizon gravity lift was so huge.
Yes, yes, and in getting up and over and back into that spot where they were on the high ground, I mean, that made all of the difference for them. But it was a cool game end because we had 3 of the teams vying for really supremacy in this lobby. You know, Baguette was a team that was maybe in the worst position. They did a lot to try to change that. But ultimately, it ended up being, I think, We Don't Play and Clippers who had better positions and had more control of it. And it's almost as if it was their game to lose. They almost gave it up, but they ended up recovering really nicely, as you had mentioned, getting back to that spot. And I think that's all you can ask for a team like that. It's a good sign to be in a good spot and to hold on to that good spot and get a W.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Clippers could have ended up getting pinched by leaving their eyes off of Baguette for a little bit, but they did the right thing by applying pressure on Baguette as they were right under them. And they did full commit. I think they knew that, you know, they were playing for second place at that point. And playing for second place isn't bad. You know, you get the 3 extra kills on Baguette. You get the few extra placement points as well. It's a good game for Clippers as well.
That is what it is all about here. When you look at We Don't Play, it's going to be a 7, 7, 8 maybe kill game. And I'm excited to see it because at the end of the day, wow, wow, wow. A
little bit more than you thought.
It's going to be a 10 kill game here, which is putting them at 22 points. Now, Baguette, if they got a lot of kills, you know, they only came in 3rd or so. And so it's not going to be that drastic in terms of an impact that is keeping them, you know, ahead in a healthy way. It's going to be a lot to overcome in Game 5, but they've done what they needed to do. We said you got to win Game 3. They halved it. You got to win Game 4 to try to tie it. And then you got to win Game 5 to basically try to overtake it. They're 2/3 of the way there. I mean, this is pretty impressive. If you just ended it like that, you're talking about 2 teams that clearly have dominated these lobbies. And wow, it is now a, 11-point game between We Don't Play and Baguette LF. Wow. We got ourselves a heck of a finale, girl.
Yeah, at the beginning of the tournament today, we didn't think anyone really stood a chance. We knew that there was a lot of great competition, but the advance that they had over everyone else, we were just like, man, that is a big point gap between Baguette and the rest of the crew, but We Don't Play picking up that back-to-back win. That's the team you want to see win. Out of everyone right now, it's the only team that really has a chance to beat Baguette and take home the win today, so it's really going to be an exciting game number 5 to watch. Clippers has been playing well. They're vying for 3rd and 4th place. TXC also 30 points, 8 points behind them. Viper Squadron and AXFF, they are tied. They're only 3 points behind 4th place, so they've got to watch out. TXC has some competition for that prize money by the end of the day.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, I love this. This is what makes Apex Legends great to watch. And of course, these wild cards, you couldn't hope for a better story. The winner of last week trying to retake their crown this week, this wild card. But Baguette, our winner of the overall wild cards and our most dominant team across Europe, is now in the first position trying to tie it up and say we are back to reclaim our throne. All of that And the epic finale of wildcard number 2 here in Europe coming up in just a moment. We are back, and it is our finale of our wild card number 2 here for PlayStation Tournaments, Apex Legends Masters Circuit. And it is, of course, Game 5 that will decide whether it's We Don't Play or Baguette LF that will take home the prize. The big prize, and of course, the title of champion for this week. My name is Randy. I'm joined by Girl. I'm excited to have you here, Girl. It's so great. I mean, talk to me a little bit about what we've seen so far leading up into Game 5.
Well, we've seen Baguette absolutely dominate our first 2 games with a big point lead, and then we've seen We Don't Play come back, take 2 back-to-back wins right after them, closing the gap. What was the point difference between We Don't Play and Baguette LF? I know it's pretty close.
11
points. So this last match will determine who wins it all, who takes home the $600 for first place. But we've got a second place prize and third and fourth as well. So there is teams fighting for prize money up until the last and final game, which is exciting.
I mean, very exciting. This is honestly a perfect wild card. You could tell placement points now are really almost even, 34 to 32, but it's really the 35 to 44, that massive game that they had with 22 kills, that are 25, something like that, 22 kills, that ended up being that first game that set themselves up for the rest of the tournament. And, you know, that's the benefit of starting strong, but it's also something that can hurt you because it's really hard to start game 1 like that and keep it all the way up going until game 5. Teams start to find their rhythm. They start to adjust on you. You don't have anything to adjust to because everything that you've done has worked. So there's no reason for you to adjust anymore. So then game 3, you get a little different scenario. Then you got to start to adjust, but it's late in the game. It's late in the tournament. Other teams have already kind of picked up a new pattern. So it's tough to do what Baguette have done. I think they're going to win still. I just have a feeling. I feel like Baguette is going to clutch this one out. We Don't Play, though. Are you rooting for the underdog, the team to go back-to-back? They're 11 points down. You think they can do it, Girl?
I think that they definitely can do it. I think that they have the confidence. From what I've seen from Baguette the last 2 games, they've been playing differently. I feel like the confidence that they had, you know, going from a 25-kill game to 5 or 6 kills and then dying off early, you know, you don't see that survivability, you don't see that confidence. Maybe they're getting targeted as well. You know, hey, that's Baguette. They noticed the skins, they noticed the legends that Baguette is playing. Maybe that is why Baguette actually ended up picking up Vantage as well. So people would be like, oh, that's not Baguette, let's not focus them. And that's maybe why they got up to 3rd place in our last and final game. And I feel like they could have played our last game differently. They could have maybe pinched Clippers, fought for 2nd place instead of playing it on the low ground and, you know, trying to squeeze themselves in a few more points. They got to take it into their own hands if they want to win this, because I think We Don't Play, they've got a plan in mind here.
They certainly do, and they are not playing about it. I know I could say that all day long. It seems to be the most appropriate thing to say, though, when I see them on screen. They are serious about their business. And, yeah, Vantage. I want to watch some more Baguette if they are playing Vantage. I want to talk about the new legend. We haven't had an opportunity to do it. But we are here on Kings Canyon for the first time for many of you to see this competitively. And if you're watching, hopefully you're learning. You're seeing a little bit about what you can apply to your games, how these controller-only, console-only, PlayStation 4-only lobbies are operating, because I know there's a lot of PlayStation fans at home right now about to jump into some Apex when this is done. You might even be playing it now and have this on your side monitor. Well, if so, good luck out there in the canyon. But right now, it's good luck to all these 14 teams vying for that top spot. $600 in cash prizing for number 1, and of course a spot in our grand finals where PS5s and thousands of dollars are on the line. We'll see who ends up grabbing it here and who claims the top spot as we check out the character selection, Girl. Will we see a Vantage here, or will we not?
We won't. So they're going to go back to their OG comp. They've got Horizon, they've got Valkyrie, and they've got the Seer for this scan. So we're not going to see a Vantage on Baguette LF. Now that is exciting. As a viewer, as a caster, I like to see them doing what they are naturally good at. rather than playing something different just because they're getting targeted, because they're a strong team. We've seen them get 25 kills. We know they're sharpshooters. We know that they're a formidable team, and I want to see the confidence. The reason why I think that We Don't Play can still win is not only because they're a good team, but because I feel like the confidence from Baguette was lacking. Now, I think they're trying to bring it back. Probably in their voice comms right now, come on, boys, we got this. The vibe, they got to pick out the vibes, and we need to see the vibes in their gameplay going forward. Now, where are they landing, and are they going to land alone? We see We Don't Play. They're going to land runoff. Where is Baguette? Look, they changed their drop spot. They normally landed spotted. Now they're landing hydro. So this is going to be a complete different game than we have been expecting.
Interesting, and they have found themselves really close to TXC. That's not really a great fight that you want, I think, this early if you're Baguette. That's one of the only other teams that could actually take you down in a 3v3. They've got the capabilities, but it seems like maybe Hydro and Swamps is going to give them enough room to safely allow Taylor, if she as the Valkyrie does get in trouble, to use that Skyward Dive, reunite back with Perry and Obelix, and they've got plenty of room on their bottom side. Doesn't feel like there's going to be an issue on that one. We'll have to pay attention and wait to see. As on the other side of things, Rom, Mr. Namka, and Mr. Profit take the left-hand side, runoff and pit of We Don't Play. We'll see if they can continue to win. But following along, there they are. The big old Baguettes. Just looting up as they should be doing. A lot of loot in this area, girl. And don't have to share it with anybody, which is great.
Yeah, the thing about Swamps is it doesn't necessarily always have high tier loot. As you can see, they're on double white and the blue, and it's also a very big POI to loot, so it's going to take a lot of time. The advantage, though, is that they have the Valkyrie, so they're going to be able to rotate just fine. Now, take a look at the map, though. The map moves towards the north.
Yeah.
They've also, not only do they have TXC flying on top of them, they have Clippers on their way there as well. They're a little bit far, but this is what you've been talking about, TXC, one of the teams that can take them down. And we're looking to see how aggressive they can be. Oh, but the grapple's not going to be good. He goes down for free. Perry, beautiful triple take shots, and that is going to start the fight for now. But it doesn't look like Clippers is on their way there, so this might just be a clean 3 points for them. This is exciting if you're a Baguette LF fan right now.
Yeah, this is turning into maybe the scariest position for a Baguette fan to the best position, because 3 points early, that now makes it a 14-point deficit that We Don't Play have to overcome to take first place against Baguette. And I don't think that's going to be easy to do whatsoever. Leave it up to Taylor, though, to get aggressive. They've got plenty of ammo and great weapons to do the job. But they also don't want to risk it. And I think that has been the benefit for both teams here. There's been a little bit more patience just because they know this is the last game and you got to do it right. Zero.
Yeah.
Raymond staying alive, too.
The thing about TXC getting thirsted as well is they know who they were up against. They know it's Baguette, because once you die, you can see that death recap, right? So they decided to take the safe route. They know it's not just an ordinary team. It is the team leading the lobby that they're fighting. And We Don't Play. They're on the other side of the map now. They also need kills. They need 11 points more than Baguette at the end of this final game. So few kills wouldn't hurt, especially now that Baguette has won.
And, you know, girl, it's also interesting that, you know, if they don't get that banner and those 2 kills of Raymond and Nero, excuse me, go to someone else, I mean, those are 2 kills, 2 points. You know, we may be looking at a 1-2 point difference in the win here. That could be the difference in, if We Don't Play do get a W, maybe the reason they were able to overtake Baguette, and also maybe the reason Baguette was able to hold out, depending on where Raymond and Nero go. Because you can see Taylor and Perry, they're not trying to give up the banner. And there's another team coming in as well from Rig, who have kind of held that wall, and it's made things a little precarious for Nero and Raymond. They found a way in between the 2 Goliaths with full teams. But Baguette is on the move now, trying to get out of that corner, and it makes sense because the zone is starting to move. Round 1 closing in about 1:20. Time is up, and so these teams are going to be forced to adjust one way or the other their position to get back into the center zone.
It looks like Obelix is a bit of a lost some charge in his controller there. So he's going to get punched into the storm, which is very possible. The time that they have, and it's only bring 1 zone damage. Nice shots by Rom, though. We don't play. Okay, they've lost Mr. Namka. They've got to recover him, but they've knocked and thirsted Dave. They've got med kits, they've got heals, but this is a very open area against a Seer ultimate.
And it's a good team, you know. It's AXFF that they're fighting, and
They're
it's
eliminated.
the same thing. Yep, and now they're gone.
There's a third
wow.
party.
So there's another team coming in as well, and it's PMV. Azrael, they always have that gold shield, and this is going to make it difficult. Oh, especially when you're talking about medkits and you're talking about things like fighting in the zone. You do not want to Seer Q on, and I don't know about this. If you don't have any heals, I mean, this is going to be maybe spell it for Rom. Is he going to get this off? Oh, finally gets the medkit off. Wow, that was close. And you know what? I think they can make this work. The key is they got to play as 2, and they got to take the aggression towards anyone who gets aggressive towards them. Fighting in the zone, girl, it can be tricky. You can overcommit and realize, wow, I got to heal. I can't run back. And, you know, you have to stop, put yourself in a very vulnerable position to get shot and finished off.
PMB is doing the right thing, though. They're looting all of the boxes since they third-partied, and they're not really chasing into the storm because that just puts them at a very far spot from where they need to go. Taking a look at this zone, it's going to be on the northeast of the map, so they've already got a long way to go. And I don't even know if We Don't Play can survive in the storm. They're going to need to craft, they're going to need medkits, they're going to need a little bit of luck there too on the syringes and medkits that they do find along the way. But it is a journey that they do have to take, and they have to earn their win, irregardless of the third parties and not.
It's a great point. You know, you got to earn it. And yeah, you did 2 out of 3. It's hard to do 3 in a row. And that's kind of what starts to separate people. So you got to put together good performances across them all. We should be heading just to get a little checkup here on We Don't Play. As Viper Squadron not really in the mix, but We Don't Play is the only team that could take down Baguette. Rom is going to stay alive. They've got Namka back up. So, you know, sometimes they say, well, sometimes I say, roads with adversity end up being our best teachers, right? They end up strengthening us. Maybe that level of adversity coming out alive on that one's going to give them the juice they need to win this, because somehow all 3 of We Don't Play are still in the mix. As Baguette is now in an engagement, this could be trouble for them as We Don't Play find their saving grace. Will Perry, Terranez, and Baguette find their ultimate demise? I don't think so. Ronaldinho goes down. Silence me all you want. I don't need my abilities to take you down, as it's just live legend, and that'll be it. Rat Kings eliminated. Not today, says Baguette, as they add 3 more kills to their top of the leaderboard position.
I love the attempt. I love that they stick with it. I don't know. It's just a fan of me is starting to brew here for this Revenant squad. I just, you know, one of our bottom teams trying to defeat one of our top teams with the same comp that they've been using week after week. I just love it. And they did a good job. They did some good damage on Baguette LF, but, you know, they got outgunned. It happens. It happens to us all. There's always going to be a team better than you, and that's the fun about Apex. Is there's always room for improvement, and you can do better. The next one, even though Baguette LF is in the lead, they still got room for improvement as well. So it's a battle royale. Anything can happen, and they're on their rotate. The great thing for Baguette is that they've now got 4 kills under their belt. That's looking good for them.
It's such a great, to me, like a conversation too, because you have so many things we talk about in Apex, and you know, the legends. Why are you running this composition? What legend is busted and broken? And what about this map? And how do you, at the end of the day, it's a shooter. You're gonna gotta hit your shots. If you don't hit your shots, all of those tactics have nothing to do with anything. You've got to connect the bullets, and that ultimately is what can separate a lot of teams. It's really not so complicated when you get down to that, and that's why we've seen We Don't Play on Pathfinder, who has not been a legend that's provided much in the competitive scene for a long time, but provides good angles for himself as a character, and is one of girls' favorites as well, to really still perform, because Mr. Profit is applying the pressure with the weapon. 300 bullets in the R301. Don't think he'll be running out anytime soon.
I love watching a good Pathfinder, and to be honest, we didn't mention it earlier, but Mr. Proffin's always got a really good angle to cover for his squad, and he outputs so much damage. This R301 combo with Pathfinder has been killing it today, and I love to see that from him. MVP in my eyes. I played Revenant the other day because I'm doing like a one legend a day type thing, and then I moved over to Pathfinder, and my team's like, we miss Revenant, and that's just because Revenant's more of a team play type ability legend, and Pathfinder's very solo off doing his own thing, and Mr. Proffin's doing a great job of it.
Viper Squadron here. Pressure it out with the missile swarm. But it's just a quick relocation. They've got the images. Twiggy knows exactly where that head peek is going to come from, but now Twiggy the one getting peeked. And has to make it around the corner. Danger. And Taylor, another kill. This is not looking good, but guess what? They've got 7 kills at least, but they've only got 1 player. They're going to have to hit this. And around the corner, did I just see what I thought I saw? Yes, it might be Rom and Mr. Profit and Namka coming down. People are going to be attracted to this like bees to honey when they see this dropship coming in, setting down 2 players. And boy, oh boy, those 2 players mean a lot to this lobby. Rom plays approaching, Taylor separating it out. It is going to be Obelix and Perry who have to somehow make it out of this. And it is not easy with Anubis chasing down Obelix, already finding enough damage, but not enough to get the kill just yet.
Oh, Obelix takes down Anubis.
Wow.
And Clippers was eliminated. Oh my goodness, did they actually turn this around?
Not this one,
How's Obelix doing it? No, Mr. Province here. Okay, We Don't Play came in for the third party. Obelix is down. All right, FMA, they didn't do the greatest job on killing them, but We Don't Play. Did they eliminate? No, Taylor is alive. Okay. For everyone at home watching, it is Baguette LF against We Don't Play. We Don't Play ended up coming in, sweeping 2 kills off of Baguette LF. Taylor is going to work his way into end zone and try and play for placement, because that's really all he can do at this point. I feel like he is going to get banner camped, or his team is going to get banner camped, but they do have a lot of kills. There was an 11-point difference before this game commenced, and they have secured a lot of kills. So if he can get a high enough placement, he can secure themselves first place. We Don't Play now, though. They're picking up more kills after kills as well. Maybe not as many as Baguette LF had, but there is still 7 squads remaining.
And Taylor is really the thorn in their side, because if they can get, let's say, 10 placement points higher by winning this game. Maybe there's, 3 or, 2 to Taylor here coming out 7. But then there's 12 going to We Don't Play. That could be the difference. But right now, there's too much. We Don't Play have to now get more than 11 points. More than that, because we know Baguette and them had 7 points that they added. So they've got to not only even that back up, then they've got to win in terms of placement points. And Taylor ratting has made it so difficult. The only thing that is maybe going to help here is the fact that Taylor is in a lobby with so many seers, and they are able to see her ratting. So as the Valkyrie, this is tough. And who's going to get it, I don't know. But if We Don't Play don't get it, it could be the difference in them not winning this tournament if they're able to go ahead and finish this game. But Taylor is running right towards Mr. Namka right now, and it is starting to get interesting. You could see just hiding in this tree. Girl, I mean, Taylor's got to do her best, his best push impression right here. And
this is really hard. This is one of the most difficult end zones to actually rat in for Taylor right now.
And somehow I just feel like Taylor's going to get out of it. Look at this. Mr. Namka's on the tail as well. Is this going to be We Don't Play who find the kill? One bullet. One. Oh my God, Taylor, how did you get out of that?
Twiggy!
No way. No
doesn't see him.
way. How? And Taylor still alive. Twiggy, it's right in front of you. Mr. Namka as well as Mr. Profin in the middle of a fight. Twiggy knows.
He's waiting for backup.
So we're going to 3-2-1 this player. Twiggy looks to be saying. And Taylor already can see it. The 3-2-1 might not have been the advantage. Taylor, I mean, what a masterclass in ratting. So far, we have only lost one squad here, but you need Baguette and Taylor to go down as soon as possible if you're We Don't Play, because every single squad is adding more points that aren't getting gained by We Don't Play, and they have to gain desperately here.
He's doing a great job, I think.
You think this is it?
I think he's done a good enough job, unless We Don't Play kind of kill out the whole lobby here. Do We Don't Play have a seer right now? Oh my goodness, he's been caught. 5th place is 4 placement points. Keep that in mind. That's Baguette LF eliminated at 5th place. So that is 4 placement points on top of all the kills that they've got.
What was 6th and 7th, girl? Do you know those placement points offhand?
6th and 7th would be 3, I believe.
Okay. Either way, you're in a pretty similar situation. It's only 1 point. We'll see if it comes down to 1 point. If so, Taylor, good on you, my friend. We Don't Play. Now it's time for you to go. There are 9 players in this lobby, 6 that could go on the board for We Don't Play. Would it be enough? I just don't know. I just don't know. But they definitely have to get them. That is for sure. Mr. Profit on the Pathfinder, separating it all. Rom knows the task at hand, and he faces off on Dominus. We can't let this KP go to anybody else. And with a Volt, it might not be too hard to do. Misses all those shots on the Dominus, though. The R301 connects with nearly all of them, but oh my God, it's just one. Dominus finds Mr. Namka. No, We Don't Play. The hope, the dream of the lobby. It's crumbling before their eyes like a cookie. Twiggy being the one to smash the dream to pieces. TXC now coming in. We talked about Raymond. We talked about the squad adjustment. Getting a win would be massive for the confidence. Could this be it? Raymond here, finding more. The leader of this team, TXC. Gonna get 1 shield swap. Doesn't necessarily need it, but I'll take the extra 50, yes. The red shield gonna give you 25 more, plus the healing. That was necessary. Nero knows there's a fight happening. Mr. Profin, they've done it somehow. 2nd place, can they get 1st? I don't know, I think it might just be TXC with the new roster who find their 1st win and show everybody that they are here to play. That's gotta make smiles in the chat all around. And for TXC, a great confidence builder heading into our next wild card coming up in a couple weeks.
Profin did secure 2nd place, which is 9 points. I just don't know if they had enough kills to secure the bag today. But I mean, if they didn't get 1st place, they ought to have gotten 2nd. We're going to find out shortly. But that was a wonderful game to watch. TXC really needed that win, actually, because they were on the verge of losing a 3rd or 4th, right? So they needed that. There were a couple squads under them. I actually have no idea what this leaderboard is going to look like after this.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, everything that could have been interesting kept happening all game. So a great game with a lot of drama and storytelling involved. So I got to give a hats off to all our competitors who put that together. It was fun to see. And ultimately, what are you going to do? There's a team at the top who did everything they had to do to stay at the top. Yes, they had an 11-point cushion, but it's not even about that. Baguette got 7, 8 kills in that game at the very least. Taylor survived against all odds and several attempts by multiple players to take Taylor down. And what ended up occurring was a masterclass of ratting and grit that ultimately, I think, will be too much for any of the teams like We Don't Play to have overcome. However, it was a good performance all around the board, and I think TXC definitely put themselves on the map here again, girl. With a roster swap, you always got to say, you know, you got to say, I'm curious how it works out, and I think this is in sports too. Does this player add something? It's going to feel different. It's going to be new, but getting a win at the end, that's got to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, they needed it. It was beautiful gameplay by everyone all around. TXC, they must have been a duo the whole entire time as Martin. Yeah, it seems like, yeah, didn't have much going on. So Raymond, 722 damage. Scenario, 506 damage. Good shot accuracy from them both. And positioning wise, they were incredible. And they got 6 kills, so 2 team wipes. They put themselves in great positions and took advantage of the situation. So great job coming in from TXC. And you gotta feel hurt as a team that was vying for first place to have lost to the likes of a duo. That's gonna hurt just a little bit more. That's like stinging on a burn.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you do not want that, trust me. For me, I think TXC worthy to be in this conversation. And as we head to the reveal, we started off with our bottom 5. Rat Kings, you know, deserve to be there. 11. It's unfortunate Ronaldinho and them couldn't grab that 10th spot for the grand finals, because I think it was really the only team here that we talked about that really made a difference in terms of the lobby. They took risky fights. They had a different lineup. Clearly, their eliminations were what kind of let them down here. Red Fade did a much better job of that. But placement points were solid, nearly more than double everybody else in this bottom 5. So a good shout out to Rat Kings. We hope to see you back. But what you've been all waiting for, it is the final score. It is Baguette LF as your champions in week number 2 for our Master Circuit wild card. Obelix, Perry, Terranez, and Taylor get back on top, where I'm sure they believe they belong. And hey, I'm not going to do any arguing about that, girl. We don't play grab second, and it's a close second, but they didn't do enough.
Yeah, they put up a great fight, exciting content, great gameplay. TXC coming in with the win, securing themselves 3rd place, making themselves to top 3. Viper Squadron done really well as well there for 4th place. Clippers got 5th place, just outside of the prize money by 2 points. That's gotta hurt AXFF. I want to see them next week. That's a team that I'm super excited to see grow personally.
Yeah.
Definitely, they had it in them. They were top 3 at one point. I just want to see them grow. I just want to give them a burst of confidence. I want to see them slay in our next tournament.
Well, I think this is a great time to do it. Shout out to Viper Squadron, who grabbed our 4th place with 27 eliminations. I mean, that's some team fighting right there. Unfortunately, couldn't put it together for any placement points. And surprised there that you look at even teams like God Trio, literally every single team on this standings that's not 10th place, PMB, has better placement points than Viper Squadron. And so that is unusual. That is a very unusual thing. Viper seems like, hey, put that together. Maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a friend watching you, go over some footage. There's something to correct here, but if you correct it, you'll be in the mix.
Yeah, God Trio, I don't know if you noticed, but 1 elimination, 26 points. They've got 25 of their points off a placement, so they definitely know how to get to the end zone, but they definitely know where the improvement needs to come for sure.
Yeah, that is, 2 teams on opposite sides of the fence, right? They just got. Maybe they should talk to each other and say, hey, here's how you place. Hey, here's how you get some kills, and then mesh together like Gohan and Trunks and Dragon Ball Z. I'm excited.
Oh.
Hey,
sounds like you're leading up to something. We'll say that for a few minutes.
Well, I'm excited because we're leading up to a lot here at our PlayStation tournament schedule. Our Apex Legends Master Circuit Wild Card Qualifier number 2. It's today. We've got more coming up in just a little bit. We will be back within a couple hours for our North America side of things. That's at 2 p.m. Then, of course, in 5 days from now, we've got a Rainbow Six Siege National Cup Finals. We've got Mortal Kombat Fight Nights taking place the day after. And we got some Apex Legends Master Circuit wildcards coming up on the 24th and the October 8th with some Dragon Ball Fighters in between. A great schedule of content coming out here for all of us at PlayStation and PlayStation tournaments. Remember, if you want to get involved, make sure you go to compete.playstation.com. That is where you will find all the information. You can get reminded about when our wildcards are, how to sign up to earn cash prizes, and to be involved with our PlayStation tournaments community that we are building here on all platforms, really. I mean, we're really excited that we've had you. If you've been watching, we thank you. We appreciate you, girl. Thanks for a great job today. I'm not really saying goodbye. I'm saying see you later because we got North America coming up in just a bit. So don't go anywhere. But for those who are joining us and leaving us now, thanks so much. Never give up. Never stop gaming. We'll see you next time.
PlayStation